lot of you question whether or not I'm here for truth. Question if I was a real flat earther or not. Well, the reality of it is there are no flat earthers. There are only globe deniers. Every flat earth evidence really is just a globe phenomenon, explained by the globe. Don't you see that? See, I'm still here for truth. Now there are certain people in my way. What is up, party people? All right, so not a whole lot to talk about, but a lot to talk about. So most of you, I'm pretty sure, know, I went over to Ranty's. Holy shit, that was probably the dumbest mistake I've ever made. But I did it on purpose. I needed just to clarify something. I needed to see something for myself. And I did. And yeah, I 100% realized that Ranty's panel is just as bad as any other non-moderated fucking channel. It was a fucking shit show joke. Let me go ahead and put the link to the panel in the chat. We'll get started. While we do that, let's say what's up to people. Hopefully I'll get to all of you. What is up, GPS? What's up, Sean? What's up, Farmers? What's up, B-Ball? Thank you for that super chat, my friend. What's up, C4? What's up, Jose? Mr. Adarat, how you doing? Hey, Hannah, how you doing? What's up, Mippet 69? What's up, WS? Hey, Amy, how you doing? Welcome. I'm getting over here. And I think that's almost it. What's up, Dr. Phil? Phil KO. And get into this. And I think that's it. What's up, Secret G? All right. What's up, Farmers? What's up, Sean? I was at first. Now, this is going to sound fucking weird, but it's true. I actually enjoy talking to Right to Hand. If you keep it, every time I've had a conversation with him, including today, the conversation doesn't. I didn't feel he was trying to irritate me at that moment. He kind of chimed in right before he left, and he did. But I can have a decent conversation with Right to Hand. I've had quite a few with him. But that's why I'm not sure if anyone was there when I got on the panel or when I was in the chat before that, but I made it very clear to Ranty, I had no intention on wanting to have a conversation with Travis. And if I would have known Flat Earth Data was there, I would have made it very sure I didn't care to talk to him, which I did on the panel, but yet he just continues to talk. That's when I realized Ranty doesn't moderate shit. And I even had to say it a few times. Hey, Randy, can you control this? This is ridiculous. And I'm not interested in having a conversation like this. That's why I left. I messaged Ranty just in case they're all like, he rage quit. No, I messaged Ranty, let him know, hey, I'm not down for this disrespectful shit. That page, I don't like doing this, but she's a fucking cunt. She's the type of no, I'm serious. She's the type of person that I can easily see myself cussing her out and calling her a fucking cunt. And she only said 3 sentences to me. But yeah, I'm not doing that shit again. That was a fucking joke. She's just a fucking cunt. And then the whole and then I saw it right away. Once Flat Earth Data wasn't able to really have a good argument, that's when everyone started jumping in. And then what ended up happening was 3 different conversations we're having at once, and somehow me saying Flat Earth Data, I'm not interested in this conversation, was a win to him. It's like talking to that guy is like talking to. It's worse than talking to a brick wall, because I won't punch that brick wall. But yeah, that was a fucking joke. Now, and I messaged Ranty that I was definitely interested in debating him about the Black Swan images. It's not going to happen on his channel though, so I don't know if I doubt it'll happen, but I will not be sharing a panel with any of those people that were on that panel today. It's like, those are like Flat Earth jokes. Flat Earth Data, Travis. It's like, they're all fucking ridiculously stupid. And here's my favorite part. Ranty's like, because we were looking at one of the platforms from the cargo ship video. And he goes, and this happened like 3 times. He goes, there's nothing missing from that platform. Hey, Travis, you ever seen the legs actually touch the water? No. Or every time he said no before, this time, because he was on rant, he was like, I can't say that I can't say that I have. It was like, holy shit. Those are, and then here's my favorite part. Ranty's like, well, those are waves or swell. Well, hey, Travis. And after the 3rd time, they got pissed off about it, and they weren't interested in what Travis had to say. But yeah, that was insanely ridiculous to me.
Comment in Discord that they were still going. And I thought, oh, I'll go back to my history, bring up the window. So I logged back into the Hangout, and it's Slick just going off on one Stingray. And I thought, you're joking. He's been going all this time. And then at some point, somebody said, I think it might have been No Name, sort of said, hey, have you seen what Sean G's doing? He's on Ranty's channel. And so, of course, we all went over to watch, and I think sort of 10 minutes later, you bailed out, and rightly so, to be honest.
That was exactly what I told Ranty. I was like, actually, I'll read it. I said, hey, Ranty, I'm not interested in the disrespectful version of this conversation. I would like to discuss the Black Swan image with you, but the scattergun way doesn't work. I'll message you on Skype. And then I said, thank you for the invite. Yeah. But that was a... I don't give a fuck. You can say I lost. I don't care. But I am never going to be interested in a conversation with Flat Earth Data. Never. That's just not going to fucking happen at all. And the audio is fixed out there, guys. Travis, Travis is dishonest. Travis is he's a fucking liar. And I've come to this conclusion on the panel and how he answered those questions, because again, they were talking to me like it was my observation, and no flat earther had ever talked about it. And the way he answered the 3 questions that I knew he knew the answer to, because we've had this conversation before 1,000 times. Yeah. He was very he even hesitated numerous times to answer, because he knows where he was at. And that's fucking insanely dishonest. And that's why even before I got on there, I told Ranty, I'm not interested in a conversation with Travis. I'm done. There's no reason to have that conversation. Him saying I don't listen or I don't get his... he's like 5 years old. He's a fucking little kid. I'm done with it. And then Flat Earth Data is Flat Earth Data. He's just stupid in his own. But Their whole argument was that data does nothing, and an observation is data, and all you need is observation. And then the nail in the coffin was when I asked Flat Earth Data, so hey, Flat Earth Data, 'cause, you know, he likes to rant those numbers that he's drawn up himself, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so are you saying that your calculations and the claims that you're making are more accurate because of the data you've made? And he realized it. And then he changed the subject. And I realized they kept doing that. That's why I made it clear. I was like, I didn't make any fucking claims. I'm not even here to make claims. I'm here to tell that there are thousands of models for the globe Earth. And that went away the second right to hand basically said, fuck what flat earthers say. I'm not sure people caught that either. He wanted to draw the... So he didn't say fuck flat earthers. He just was making it clear that what flat earth says isn't what he believes, and that how he was going to extrapolate the conclusion was just not assuming it's a ball. I'm like, dude, I purposely didn't say due to curvature for a reason. I wanted to do that step-by-step data evaluation that concludes it's due to obstruction. But once the ranty Muppets start fucking talking, it was pointless to be there. I knew it was pointless to be there. The second Flat Earth Data started talking.
Yeah.
I knew that.
I mean, I just caught the last little bit that I heard. Of course, it was the rumpus that doesn't help. But you'd got Brian, you'd got Mind of God, and I think there might have been one other. And it was just like, well, what's the point? Because Brian just wouldn't shut up.
Yeah, who is that guy? I've never talked to that guy in his life, and it was like
the Irish chap, Brian.
I don't think I've ever talked to him before.
Somebody will be able to help out in the side chat. I can't think what his full name is, but yeah, he crops up there all the time, and I have to admit, no offense to the Irish, but when you've got somebody spouting shit like he does, the Irish accent just adds a certain comedic edge to it, shall we say?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So it was like, and here was this is my favorite part. So if you guys saw that little upload, again, and the funny part was I typed in, I knew Travis would be like, he did a video about me. So I purposely typed in the description that I was just fucking with the new editor that I have. But he took it as, Sean made it. He told Ranty, he said, Sean decided to make, if Sean doesn't want to talk to me, that's funny because he just made a 5-minute upload about me. Like, no, dude, I just used that stupid fucking that stupid GIF at the end because I had it. But, it was like, it's just, hang back, just hang on.
And of course, he's gone major butthurt in the comments on that, hasn't he?
Yeah. So in the Black Swan, which is where it became clear, and then also in the cargo one, I could tell because now I know the specs of those oil platforms. And remember, we were looking at the 25 feet, and Travis was like, "How do you quantify 25 feet?" The platform specs.
Well, because somebody, this is the irony, somebody sent you a link that shows you all that detail.
Yep. And he then questioned it again on Ranty's panel. And that the whole time I told Travis I wasn't interested in talking. The only time I talked to Travis was to verify that everyone else on that panel was stupid and wrong. And it showed 100% that just observing an image tells you shit all. Because all the Flat Earth Data, Ranty did it twice. So Flat Earth Data and Ranty both made beliefs, assumptions of the image we were looking at, and were dead fucking wrong. And it was like, okay, well, you guys are only showing, like, and that was the main thing that I liked about it. Okay, you guys are showing that yes, you definitely need data to be accurate, and you're saying that data is not important. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
it's just a joke. I'm coming to the conclusion that if I'm going to debate, it'll be because for the fun of it. But changing someone's mind, none of the flat earthers I know that are on panels like that, they're all fucking full of shit.
Brian Leakey. Thank you, Amy. That was it. Brian Leakey is his name.
No, that wasn't Brian Leakey.
Was it not?
Brian Leakey's the concrete dude.
Oh, yes, of course he is. Yes.
That wasn't Brian Leakey. I know him.
Yeah,
I know his voice.
I can't think of Brian, the Irishman's surname. Can't remember.
Is it Brian Brian UK, I think.
I have no clue. He fucking just spouts
Brian's Logic. Thank
gibberish.
you, people.
Oh, that's the
Brian's
one. Yeah.
Logic, he calls
My
himself.
my favorite part about that Brian guy was Brian said twice, "Stay on topic," and I'm like, dude, you're asking me questions that have nothing to do with the conversation. That's why I kept telling I kept saying I'm not interested in this conversation with anyone else. What's up, Cleve?
Because he can't join the conversation.
Hang on.
You can't talk.
Quick question. What is data?
Data. I cannot make bricks without clay.
Talking, and that's
No,
why
but that's
and that was why I want to stay talking to Right to Hand, because Right to Hand was a conversation. Yeah, I was cutting him off because I know where it could get to, and I was a little dickish for that. I apologize, but it was actually a
no.
conversation.
You're not dickish. That is the correct thing to do to that wanker.
I see. I don't have that problem with him.
Rock fall because Santa.
Yeah, but see, in the conversation we were just having, he said we don't have to. He said the conversation I had with him was fine. He didn't say anything like that at all. He didn't make any outlandish claims. He didn't. He literally was. We were actually having a conversation leading to something until Flat Earth Data, that fucking cunt, started talking.
Right the Hand actually agreed with me on something after my turn on Ranty's channel. He turned around and messaged me on Skype and he goes, "Yeah, the moment Rumpus come in and Paige was in, none of us could talk."
Yeah. And to answer Bob the Science Guy, I left Ranty's for two reasons. I wasn't going to get triggered, and cunt and Flat Earth Data were trying and that Brian guy were trying their best to get me triggered. So I wasn't going to let it happen, and it was pointless for me to be there after the little. I don't even want to say really bad things, but gosh, he aggravated me. Yeah, once Rumpus got on there, I would have had nothing to say to any of the Flat Earthers. I would have started cussing Rumpus out if I would have acknowledged him. Rumpus is the biggest joke of the community, and he thinks he's cool. He's a cool kid. He's one of the cool kids.
He's not one of the cool kids.
Yeah, I'm sorry. When
Hey, what's up? What's up, Sean? I only got a few minutes.
Hey, what's up, people? How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah, that won't happen again. I won't be going on ranty. That was ridiculous. Yeah, just between those three, that was the most aggravating thing I've ever had to do in a long time.
So is right the Hand? Is he still a flat earther? I mean, I'm pretty sure we all remember.
Oh yeah,
the Mr. Sensible video.
And it was brought up today on Ranties, and he goes, No. I was just trying to illustrate how Globers are stupid and how dumb they can be convinced of things." And then he glosses over it.
Yeah, right.
And then he also goes, "But what's his name? This is when Flat Earth Data jumped in, was because Right to Hand was like, well, the one thing that you're not going to expect is I don't agree with how Flat Earthers say perspective works and this and this." And he started rattling off things, and that's when they all started jumping in. It wasn't like for no reason. It was like out of nowhere. Flat Earth Data, Cunt, and Travis just started or Ranty, not Cunt, or not Travis, Ranty. They all kind of just started piling on these. Oh, that's not like this, and that's when I started going, "Hey, Travis." And Randy does that all the time. When we were talking about that Isla Man BS, they did the same fucking thing. It's just a joke. Okay, I'm done being aggravated by that. What are you guys doing? How are you guys doing today?
I'm good. It's my son's birthday, so I had to get him something real quick. They just turned 16.
Wow, grows so damn fast. Good to hear. He's having a birthday now. It's good. You're supposed to do that yesterday, B-Ball.
No, well, I mean, they've been out of school for a while, and we're not really having a party. I just got him something. for their birthday. We're all stuck
What did you
at
get
home
it?
still. I got both of them. They're twins, so I got both of them some new
Oh.
Xbox controllers since they like to destroy their own. They have 4
Nice.
controllers and they're all broke.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
get it. How do you mess up that D-pad so fucking much?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to
I
fly
have
that
no
airplane,
idea.
Sean. Sometimes you got. That's what we always said about my little brothers. The way they used a controller, it was like they were flying an airplane because they'd be all over the place with the controller instead of using their thumb.
Yeah, that's why. What is it? What's the Wii console? That's why they got the little wristband things on it.
Oh yes. So they don't go smacking against the wall when they let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah,
or,
we used
more,
to have one of them.
or more commonly, the
This is what I
TV.
find funny. I've still got my controller from a launch date PS4.
Exactly.
When-
I
when-
still have my same controller I've had for like 6 or 7 years.
Oh, I got this.
And I
All
gave
I had to
them
do
4
was replace the sticks. So I wore out the rubber on the sticks.
You know what you do?
Yeah.
You break it. Then you get another controller that you have, the same one that's or broken ones. You break it and then you hot glue it on. Then you sand around it and it's all nice and good again.
Why, when I could buy replacement sticks for $10?
Oh, well, because I told my son I won't be replacing any more controllers, so he figured out ways to fix them.
And necessity is the mother of invention.
Yep. Yeah, he was like, my controller doesn't
I
charge.
don't like the way
I
they
need
make
5
them,
batteries. I'm like, you're out your mind, kid. You better figure something out.
I don't like the way they make them though, because a lot of them you try and like when you take them apart, it's kind of hard to put it back together. Like this,
Yeah,
like
they do that shit on purpose.
like the trigger mechanism.
Mhm.
The triggers are like hard as shit to get right sometimes.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, that's because you bought Xbox.
no.
Yeah.
Well, for PlayStation, only people with little hands play PlayStation.
Yeah, PlayStation.
Yeah,
simple,
exactly.
Man.
I'm
No,
gonna tell you,
the controller's actually 50% bigger than the PlayStation 1.
okay,
It's a
but
proven
there's
fact that
but
an Xbox controller is the standard.
yeah,
The Xbox controller is the standard.
and just because the PlayStation 1 controller or the PlayStation 4 controller is twice the size of a PlayStation 1 controller doesn't mean you still don't need T-Rex hands to use them.
How did 50%
Now I
become
see why
100%?
Slick does it.
I didn't say 50%. I said 50%.
No, I said 50%. You said twice as big, but it's not. It's only 50% bigger.
That's half as big again.
You want to think about
Or
that?
half again as big.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Funny, it works out both ways.
You still need...
Hey, no name. I thought you weren't allowed to use words, maths, or any logical fallacies.
Oh,
No
yeah.
reason. I can't use reason now.
No, but what are you doing using words?
Can you use reasons?
I can't use words. I can't use math, and I can't use reasons in an argument.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Can you use eggs and bacon?
No. All you can do is use
Not
your
in a
experience.
reasonable way. Only in
You
an
have to-
experiential, grunting, pointing, very primal, elemental way.
See, and that's another
Well,
way
I
I
was
can...
gonna say-
they should be able to understand that.
Well, that's another way I can guarantee you that Rumpus is an idiot that I just realized is that they did. You know that whole physical thing they keep bringing up? You do know that's because of fucking Rumpus, right?
Yeah, can you do it in interpretive dance?
Ooh,
Please don't. I'm not
like
interested.
twinkle
Not-
toes.
Not
Yeah.
interested.
You know what? The problem is that Rumpus will go on for hours speaking on a subject when someone asks him what color is the sky. You know, and that is the biggest issue. So they're going to jump all over him.
I've told you
Don't
that before,
censor
but
me!
For his audience, he really does need to dumb things down. But he
Farmers,
doesn't. He
stop
goes the other
censoring
way.
me!
No, but
Oh,
what
shut
it is that he's so full of himself. He doesn't think I'm telling you right now, when Rumpus talks, he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck about anybody. He's talking to himself. He's listening to himself too. This is the
Well,
worst
then
thing.
he should critique himself on his lack of brevity,
You think he would do that? Wow.
and that's coming from me.
Wait. He would do
quite
that.
self-awareness.
He would do that, and his response is nothing's wrong.
He's benevolent.
He told me the other day in chat he could be more concise to me, so I'm going to try to challenge him to a concise off.
Yeah, that. But anyway, all Rumpus can do is talk shit in a chat. It's not like Rumpus, because I'm not sure if you realize, Rumpus didn't come on there and say a damn word to me.
But is he benevolent?
As far as I'm concerned, Rumpus is just as good as fucking Travis in this discussion.
No name.
Yes, sir.
Rumpus and concise don't go in the same sentence.
Oh, I know. I think I'm pretty safe in winning that contest with him.
I think Rumpus was vaccinated with a phonograph needle.
Put the needle on the record.
So, Blue, I think you and I need to take Slick to school on the definition of hillbilly versus redneck, because he plays really fast and loose with the hillbilly.
Wait.
And
So
I am not a hillbilly.
So what happened on Jose's panel?
I don't know. It seems so long ago.
Give me a brief summary of what happened.
You need somebody who was there for all of it.
It was a lot of there was a lot of ass references, Sean, and a lot of feet involved with those asses. Again, he's got a fixation on it, and then he has weird arguments with himself, and then tells me I can't use reason.
Well,
so
and then there was just swearing as an answer to the problem.
Yeah.
And how long did this go on? Because Jose went on earlier today.
Hours.
Yeah, you guys had to be on that
5 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I was listening to Jose's stream and I was at work. I hadn't even gone to lunch yet.
It was a marathon. It was a marathon expression of stamina and human will.
Jesus,
what it was, Sean.
I bailed out at about 7:30 in the evening my time, and I came back in 4 hours later.
Fuck.
Holy
Still
cow.
going.
It was 2 p.m. when I looked at the clock.
And who is this with? Slick and who else? Everyone?
Cue me.
There was quite crowded at one point, wasn't there?
Stingray.
Yeah, it was quite crowded in there for a little bit.
But it was mostly Slick just, whipping his rhetorical billy club around, trying to tell everybody what science was and what definitions were, and just a normal shtick.
Who?
I don't
Slick.
get it.
Oh, Slick? Oh, yeah.
I don't get it.
Slick Dom Johnson.
Now we're done with the whole shit talking of everyone. Let's talk about something better.
Sure.
What's up, party people?
What's up, Carlos? How you doing, sir?
Hey,
Carlos.
You are.
Damn pussy.
Hey guys,
Hey,
gotta go. I'm sorry.
Have a good one, people.
Later, people.
Right, I'll be in the chat.
Hey,
probably.
tell your boys happy birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will.
Let me see. In the chat, everyone's just bullshitting.
Does anybody
From a
know
bunch of complete strangers on YouTube. Sorry.
Yeah. But the cool guys, all the cool guys said happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally cool guys.
Let's all white knight for each other. Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, oh man. I just saw a deer.
Oh yeah, what kind? Doe, buck,
Doe. It was a doe.
doe.
A deer? A female?
A doe. A deer. A female deer.
Hey, a drop of golden sun.
No.
Yeah, this ain't gonna happen. Nope, this ain't the same.
No, it's not Glee night?
No, fuck
shit,
no.
I thought Tuesdays were Glee night.
Oh,
That's the
God.
reason I came.
I don't know who sang that song, but you guys should let them do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they're dead now, Blue, so we have to carry on the tradition.
Recording.
Land.
No, but that's the problem. Like, the Sound of Music was like about hiding from the Nazis. I don't think we should continue this conversation.
Hang on, I'm trying to find a link that I was looking at earlier. Well, I can't find it right now.
Wait, is Julie Andrews still alive?
Look at these beautiful woods, y'all.
Nah.
I think so.
Oh, your woods are nasty looking. What the fuck? Why are all this? Grow some fucking trees.
Oh no, she is. She's 84.
Those are trees.
What's left of them?
Well, when they
What are
grow
we
back,
looking at?
they cut them back down and make paper out of them. Unfortunately,
God,
There you go.
that looks like the last road you want to break down on.
Sean, where do you live? Texas?
San Diego.
Hang on,
Oh, San
that looks
Diego.
like
Yeah. Go
that
ahead.
looks like a scene out of X-Files when they're going down a road and they're going to get a phone call to say,
no.
"Can you just stop and
This
investigate
looks
this dead
like
person?"
this looks
Look.
like Travis's photos or Travis's videos, all blurry and just bad.
Well,
Bad.
at least the aspect ratio is right.
looks exactly
I don't
like
care about
Southeast
that.
Alabama.
Say again.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me, Blue.
Yep.
It doesn't look like San Diego. I can tell you that.
Looks like South Alabama.
Yeah.
It is South Alabama.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, something that was brought up over in Gem Server earlier is
But
that
hey, Carlos,
Grim.
if you say yeehaw loud enough, do all your cousins come out of the bushes? just a
No,
question.
I have to say.
No, then they come popping out of the trunk. Get it right.
Yeah, if you ride through there and say yeehaw, they all jump into the bushes, Sean. So it's a survival trait.
I see. I see.
Sean, I have a question for you.
What's up?
Who has the highest IQ, Sean Hawkins or Grim V?
Sean Hawkins. Sean Hawkins is really smart. He just acts like a fucking
Bum,
asshole sometimes.
bum.
Grim is really stupid. He just thinks he's really smart.
Okay, so Grim says his mother had him tested when he was like, I don't know, a sperm. And apparently his IQ is 195.
He's full of
Sean
shit.
Hawkins reckons his IQ is 185.
Put it this way: people who reckon
Wow.
what their IQs are usually add about 50 to 60 points.
Yes,
Well,
but
I
Sean
reckon
Hawkins
so.
was tested in grade 8, right?
And they're
So
and they're
probably 50
carrying
years
that
ago.
they're carrying that shit on today.
Yeah,
Wow, that seems logical.
no. It's
People
the fact that anyone with an IQ over 170 is extremely rare.
Yeah, isn't there some kid with like a 200 or something?
But you see, like, what would happen if his parents got him doing all these tests prior to that examination that were based on those questions? Is that not conforming to that test?
You can't do that though. IQ tests
How do you
aren't,
know?
because IQ tests aren't a set test.
For your parents to have you tested, they gotta be something wrong with you.
Yeah, that Carlos got it right.
Yeah, that's pretty much correct.
I'm just saying.
Well, and then the other thing is just because you're smart.
Yeah,
then
that's how my
doesn't mean
parents
shit
found out about
now.
mine.
Yeah, being a genius when you're a kid doesn't mean at 40 years old you're still a genius, or even if that. Because I'm pretty sure you can have there's some people with high IQs that are dumb as bricks.
Yeah, I mean,
I resemble that innuendo. Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, shit. I can tell you right now, IQ tests are just unfair in their nature in all situations.
what can you tell them later? What does it have to be right now?
You can't take an IQ test and predict and what you'll do in your future.
Yeah, it's not a good indicator of outcome. Man.
But if you had an IQ of 200, you would have found a cure for fucking cancer by now.
That's not true.
Not necessarily. They could be really interested in butterflies.
Fiona Barnett went over
give
how
absolutely two shits about cancer. It'd be like, why would I study that? I like butterflies.
Yeah,
No,
because an IQ doesn't.
Think of this.
No, an IQ doesn't distinguish what you'll do. You can have an IQ of 200 and not cure cancer. You can have an IQ of 200 and not invent a supercomputer. Like, it doesn't distinguish you to do something. There are people that have
What's the point of being really smart?
What are you talking about?
Well, if you don't have drive or ambition,
there are people that have a
or
lot lower IQs and
focus,
that are inventing things and creating and doing all that kind of shit. That doesn't set you apart.
And what's Carlos?
People with very low IQ that have YouTube channels and can get people to send them money.
Yeah.
And there's some who can't even figure that out.
Well, Fiona Barnett.
Okay, then.
Well, Fiona Barnett goes over in her book how high IQ individuals in some cases check out of the academic institution because they find it
Stop, Lemon. Stop. Okay, if no one wants to listen to Lemon, you know what to do. Mute or peace the fuck out. Go ahead, Lemon.
Carlos left.
What? I was just saying Fiona Barnett said how high IQ individuals sometimes check out of the academic institution because they find it stifling and uninteresting for their level of creativity or the way that their brain works. She talked about how the academic institution is geared toward left brain individuals who tend to be very logical but very strict and rigid in their thinking, and not toward right brain individuals who think in different ways, who get solutions to problems when they're not thinking about the problem, through creativity. When they're not thinking about the problem, all of a sudden it'll be like an epiphany, or it'll come to them in a dream. People like that are academic institutions.
I 100% agree with that statement. For instance, I was diagnosed with ADHD and ADD when I was younger, and for I'd say 1 through 6, I was getting shitty grades, terrible grades, getting in fights, blah 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 blah. What ended up happening was they give you that regular dose of fucking Ritalin to a young kid, and it zombies you out, and then you're not focusing for one. But what my dad realized is that it wasn't that I was dumb or I didn't give a fuck about school. It's just that it didn't interest me. And that became the point of figuring out how to help someone learn something. And that's when I've talked about this before, where I'm a very visual person. If I can see something being done, I can actually emulate it pretty well. And that's the crux of that. Again, you can have a really high IQ, but if there's not a way to keep you there, again, you're not going to give a shit about curing cancer or building a supercomputer, because the methods at which that you were taught may not have interested you at all. That's why we end up having really smart people that don't amount to shit, because nothing ever grabbed them, nothing interested them enough.
Yeah, it kind of forces people into a left brain path where there are supposed to be logical steps to where you solve this problem, but some right brain people are like, I don't know how I got the solution to the problem I just did. I can't, take you step by step through the working of my brain to get to this place, but I got the answer. Or it'll come, when they're not thinking about it or in a dream. The academic institution really frowns on those sorts of people, looks at them with suspicion, saying you cheated, you did something wrong, or they want them to go through a rote, rigorous process to show, logically A to B how they, got to this level, when they can't necessarily do that.
I agree with the last part where they almost force you to show how you do it. And that, again, the same way someone learns is different from the same way they would explain or elaborate how they came to that conclusion. But maybe in the past it was really bad like that, but nowadays one of the things they did was make classrooms smaller, but now they're actually starting to realize that there are methods to teaching, not good kids and bad kids, basically. But I know they've taken big leaps and bounds off since then. One of the things I was looking into it a while ago, I know they're prescribing less. Unfortunately, now it's Adderall. They're definitely prescribing less nowadays, but that's a worse mass than the Ritalin game was, because now kids are fucking using it as fun, as recreational shit, and that's, to me, is the fucking weirdest thing in the world to me. If I take an Adderall, I go to bed.
And also, the academic institutions are geared toward female learners. Female learners tend to be a bit, quieter, more reserved than the more rambunctious male learners that want to get out of the seats, move around a little bit. And, the typically male behavior is penalized by overwhelmingly female teachers. And so you have an academic institution that tends to be left brain and geared toward females as well.
I think that's why homeschool is such the thing now, because of that. I know a lot of studies showed a lot of that shit where they were misdiagnosing ADD with the fact that a fucking little boy doesn't want to sit in his table. He doesn't have a disorder, a learning disability. He's fucking anxious. You tell a kid to sit in a seat for 5 hours and not get up and do something. That's insane to me. But again, that's teaching methods. There are teachers. I knew a couple teachers when I was in high school. We had classes outside. We changed subjects altogether weeks at a time. So it was always different. And I think that's where it needs to be. You need to have these teachers and these people teaching things that have so many different methods of doing it that they can accommodate everyone, which is damn near impossible.
Yeah, and to compound matters, Charlotte Iserbyt talked about how there really was kind of this kind of sinister plan to dumb down America's children. She talked about how the kids were not taught properly how to read. If you want to engage the brain of the reader properly, you teach them phonics, because that teaches them how to break up the word, how to think about it in parts and put it back together, and it engages the brain, the right side of the brain that's supposed to be learning. They would teach sight-based learning, where you look at a word like anything, and you would just memorize that says anything without breaking it up, without knowing how it works phonetically or syllabically. You'll just memorize how it looks. And it engages the wrong side of the brain, because that engages the side of the brain that looks at things in pictures and wholes. It crosses the brain when your brain should be looking at it broken up.
Slight problem, Lemon. If the child doesn't know how to talk, phonics doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but it engages the wrong sector of the brain, and it was making kids dyslexic. They taught
No. If the child doesn't know how to talk, how is phonics going to teach him how to talk?
You need to break up the word properly. So
that's like what you said, Davros, is like saying, how do you teach a kid to talk by talking to him? That's how you teach a kid to talk.
No. The child is unable to create a sentence, to be able to put those words together. How is he going to do it, either by phonics or by spelling or by syllable teaching? If he can't talk, you've got to teach him how to talk before you can even teach him phonics.
Well, there are people there are people that teach their kids that in that method. It's not necessarily the sentence, but there are people that will break down a word and pronounce it correctly, make sure they're pronouncing it a certain way, break it down a certain way, so it's easier for a kid to understand what they're saying. It's not always just a sentence based. I mean, they have the learning levels. I do agree,
but that's the thing. You can't make that clear cut distinction for every child. Not every child's going to learn by phonics.
Yeah, very true.
You know,
very true.
So,
yeah. Well, the main thing Charlotte Iserbyt was saying is that it's teaching kids to be dyslexic, because when you do a sight reading of the word, where you just memorize this group of letters, something as opposed to breaking it up, it engages the picture side of your brain, when the left side, the logic side, which should be breaking up the word properly, should be engaged. It's making these kids cross their brains, dyslexic, and making them difficult, bad readers. They taught it to one of the Rockefeller sons, like back in the 20s, and he couldn't read. They were like, "This is a success. This is wonderful." The richest man, in the U.S., his kid can't even read because of this method. Let's teach everybody in America, with the sight-based method, to basically make dyslexic readers. It's terrible.
And everything you said is 100% correct. How do I know? I did it. Shit. When do you do elementary school, middle school? When we used to do spelling tests. Believe it or not, guys, you guys hear how I read. I'm pretty shitty at it. I hate reading. I used to get 100%.
I see how you type.
Yeah, exactly. But I used to get 100% on all my tests, every single one. Why? Because all I got to do is memorize those words on that list, and that when she says those words, I image it. I see it in my head right away. Now, the breaking it up of that word, the context of those words, well, sometimes I get all mumble jumbled and trying to figure out what word I'm trying to say. That's why. What Lemon's saying is literally what. I don't think it's so much of an issue now. For instance, my son's spelling tests are broken out into sentences and paragraphs rather than the list of words. But yeah, 20 years ago to 30 years ago, it was, I 100% believe the whole dyslexic, ADD, ADH, all that shit was amounted by all these quick steps into teaching. Get the kids in, get them out. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people don't like hearing it, but school is a business. They treat they treat every one of your children like it's they're fucking a product or a part of the supply and demand situation. They don't get paid unless your kid's there.
Yeah, it's so sad. And plus, with the Common Core standards, they say that they're kind of teaching to the test now. These kids don't really know how to think analytically. There's no time. You got to teach to the test.
Yeah,
it's just a terrible perfect storm.
And they're like, we want all the parents to be involved in their kids' schoolwork and helping them get through and be a success. And I 100% agree. But I wasn't taught in that method. So when me and my son are sitting there staring at a math problem that's a paragraph with no numbers in it, it's aggravating. To me, that's not how you teach people things. It's like it's supposed to be more real world, but you're trying to show a kid how to get through these equations, but they're not showing them any fucking equations. It's like my son's doing decimal and fractions, and it's all paragraphs. It's like, well, Sean, I tell him, I want you, because he doesn't like showing his work, but I'm a person that says that if you show your work, even if the teacher says you don't have to, it shows that you know how to do it. Lemon, like you were saying, instead of having that picture memory, I remember how the teacher did it, remember the steps, just do it. I want my son to understand each step he's doing. So to teach him math now is a pain in the fucking ass, because I have to figure out a way, which takes me twice as long as it should, how to make that problem look like a problem I understand from how I was taught math.
Well, I was taught long division. Like, they were making fun of Common Core math, where they try to basically get them to picture out all the blocks and stuff like that. Some people can do that implicitly without having to do all that picturing. Some, people benefit from that, but it makes these problems really long. Like, she showed, she split the screen. And on the left side, she had the same Common Core problem that she was doing long division, just the way that we were taught. And on the right side, she showed the Common Core way. On the left side, she did it in, like, I want to say 10 seconds. And on the right, it took, I think I counted it, 2-3 minutes, which isn't that long. But when you multiply that times multiple problems, getting toward, high-level calculus, that adds up. And to make light of how long it was, on the left, after she was done doing the problem, she fixed her coffee. I think she, did her nails or something, and then she went and walked the dog and stuff. It was just so funny.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's, again, I there is no perfect way of doing it. I think we'll always run into reasons for it not working, or how it was actually a detriment to some situation. But I think they're going in the right path to teaching. But again, like I said, my biggest gripe with the schools are it's a business, and how they handle things. I got problems with my son's school. I've had to talk to their principal numerous, this is kind of changing the learning curve of it, but kids get in fights. Well, for my son, and I've told you guys this before, my son is very well trained in jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. He can handle himself without problem. And in that, I also know my son is afraid of hurting people. So what happens is I get a call from the school that my son's gotten into a fight, find out that some kid punched my son or whatever, and my son, who is, again, afraid of, I tell my son, if a kid puts his hands on you and he doesn't stop, break his arm. My son's scared to do that, so he doesn't fight back. And so it looks like bullying to me. I go to the school because my son got suspended. I got a fucking problem. Why is my son being penalized? Well, they got into a fight. Okay, well, who swung first? If my son swung first, I'll go home and whip his ass right now. Oh, no, the kid did. The kid did. And I'm like, okay, well, explain to me why my son's sitting at home for 2 days because that kid decided to touch him. And they don't ever have a reason. And the reason is they don't want to distinguish or make a kid feel that he is a bad kid. They want the kids to understand that a fight in itself is bad. And in my opinion, it don't work that fucking way. It does not work that way.
Yeah. It's a lot of communism, even with that. We're all going to be put into the same pot. It's even with the Common Core math thing. They want all the children to be taught this way of learning math and to process math the same way. When in the past, it was something like, we're going to teach you several methods. You choose. It's like, now you do math this way or else. You think this way or else. So it's a really weird sort of collectivist communism. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember I said when I help my son with math, it's different. So I got to make him show his work, or I have to change it up. I've actually got a note from my son's teacher asking me not to teach my son fractions the way I taught him. For me, fractions. Oh yeah. So for me, any fraction, I don't care what number it is, it's a piece of pie. It's a pie. If you look at it that way, you can cut it up and you can figure things out and understand how to do it. Well, I make my son show his work. So in that, she sees these ways of how I know how to break down a fraction and answer it. And in that, she let me know that that's not the method in which they're teaching the kids how to do fractions and decimals anymore, and that she would appreciate it if I stuck with the curriculum. I'm like, I understand what you're saying. Was the answer correct? Yes. Okay. Well, then this discussion doesn't need to be had.
Well, I mean, I don't understand it. We already, as Americans, have a hard enough time with math. I don't see this sort of long, drawn out, sludgy Common Core math leading to any sort of higher level, math where you have to do those problems quick and correctly, or at the very least have a very, efficient method. I mean, can you imagine doing like 30, 40 problems with that method? I'm just wondering what the SATs are going to look like, or if any of these kids are going to get to higher level math at all. Americans already have a hard enough problem with this. We should be teaching them the methods that are quick and efficient, not the ones that are going to slow them down. But I don't know. I guess they're trying to get these kids to visualize it, which is good. But if the kid doesn't need that, let him do long division or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And again, as far as I'm concerned, it's never going to be fixed. But again, the big problem, like most situations, is the money aspect of it.
Well, I think that money aspect you're saying?
Yeah, I just think, because again, if your kid has to be there for them to count for the school to get paid, and a lot of people actually are really pissed about some laws that came out. If your kid misses a certain amount of school, they'll actually ticket the parents. If he misses any more school after that, they'll actually arrest the parent. And to me, I'm like, what are the situations? Is it like neglect? Nope, has nothing to do with that. It's just amount of days missed.
Yeah, it's crazy. These teachers need to, prepare these students for the future, whatever the way it is. It should just be one way they're teaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
There should be a multitude of options. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get these kids to think about the numbers visually, because they know that high level thinkers tend to be kind of visual spatial, but you can't put everybody in that box. Not everybody works that way, and that's okay. But they should be able to find options that suit them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's really going to be hard pressed to do it. But yeah, there needs to be a situation where, elementary school, middle school, high school, where you're taking a test not to see what you remember, but which method is your method of learning. And then they need to start breaking up the classes that way. Or, having certain teachers that have that method teach the kids that way. Because to me, it's one teacher can't teach even 10 kids in a way that all of them are going to understand. How are they going to deal with 22, 30 kids? It's insane.
Yeah, and back in the day, a parent would be, a teacher would be thrilled that a parent took the time even to do it. But, they had to tell you to stop teaching them. I mean, were they getting the right answer? That's the only thing that I would be concerned with, But I don't know what these teachers have to do nowadays with these Common Core standards and stuff like that from the communist totalitarian state. Was he getting the right answer?
Well, the crazy part is it has this gripe has to be with the teachers too, because I'm pretty sure there's the majority of teachers that are old school, the tier level. They're probably having issues with having to teach in certain ways too, because they're having to change their methods. And what scares me, and I know people hate when people talk like this, but a lot of the shit in the books are bullshit. I mean, why do we still have history class? And this is just a personal gripe. I don't understand why we have history class. I don't know. I haven't looked, but if they're still talking about fucking Christopher Columbus, it's the biggest fucking joke in the world. But that's also what gives people this validity to act as if everyone's lying. I get that. I get why people think that way. the scale a little different. For instance, I feel the same way that everyone that we do need to look into all these entities the same way Lemmenberg does, but I'm pretty sure Lemon goes a little bit further down the rabbit hole with what could be happening than I do. But that doesn't change the fact that that's the fucking problem.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, history is written by the victors. The only thing you can get out of history class, though, is a framework with which to view history and analyze it, knowing what a primary source is, a secondary source is, reading these interviews, from the past and stuff like that, and a framework within which to see where we are. Because if you know where you've come from, you have, you're 50% to knowing where you're going. And stuff like that. But history is written by the victors and stuff. But I think, basically, even with history, it helps to see the framework of the culture that you're dealing with, and stuff like that. And, I think back then, they kind of had a pro-America stance. And so they wanted to show the good and the bad of America. But now everything's so SJW and so, communist and anti-American. It's like you can't even do that anymore, so that's where I think the line is drawn, where now we have no context. We're totally unmoored and we don't know where we've been. We don't know where we're going. We just have no idea.
Do you think that gives credence to why so many people are so skeptic of like, for instance, in the coronavirus? It's kind of aggravating, but it's a topic that I kind of want to be talking about because this isn't like most hoaxes or conspiracy theorist ideas. I don't know if I've really gotten a say from you how you feel about. I know how you feel about vaccines and stuff, but do you think COVID's a hoax? Do you think it's just being hyped, or?
Well, you know my mindset about the C virus. I'm seeing doctors come out saying there's something wrong here. There was a video from a chiropractic doctor where he said 2 COVID fake outs. One in which a baby was born 4 months premature dead, and it was listed as a COVID death. That was a red flag right there. Number 2, he talked about another death in Connecticut, where the governor got on blast and said this child died of COVID or whatever, and the parents got on blast back and said, our child died of an accident at home. He did not die of COVID. You see empty hospitals. You see a theory of germs that is questionable.
Well, the thing about the hospital one, we know that you contract this virus pretty simply. So when these people are going around videotaping the hospitals, they're not even going to where these COVID patients would be. They're in the areas that they're trying to keep people out of, so that there's no contaminated, people walking by someone with COVID, or a building being a hotspot and people without COVID going there. That's the thing. I mean, no one's showing video of an empty hospital where the COVID patients are supposed to be, because I can in an hour I can go take a video of where 400 COVID quarantine people are, and they're all just walking around walking around little barracks that they're quarantined at, and I can see them. I know that's what they're there for, because it's a second wave, and I saw the first wave leave the base and leave those barracks. It's just one of those things that there's so much disinformation. This hospital thing is one of the big ones. Again, they're not going to be showing. No one's going to be able to get to where these people are.
Well, the C virus, appears to be a mixture of some people saying it's the 5G, some people saying that it's blown up numbers because they can do a clinical diagnosis where they don't even test for corona. And they just look at your group of symptoms and say, it looks like you might have corona based off of your group of symptoms, but we haven't really tested you. So that has the potential to beef up the numbers right there. And then on top of that, they say that the test can amplify DNA that's already in you, which means that it has a potential for false positives based off of that alone. They say that it's positive for everybody at 60 repetitions of the PCR, the thing that they use to replicate the DNA over and over and over again and amplify it enough to say, hey, it's here. It's at 60 times, it's positive for everybody. But at 45, it's negative for some, positive for others, or it's not a 100% positive. And so when I hear stuff like this, I'm like, it's based off of the narrative consistency. Yeah, the narrative is not consistent enough for me to go with it.
But haven't they said that the tests for the COVID were new, and they need to work things out on it and to make it more accurate and all that? Wasn't that a situation for a while?
Well, that's another thing. How are they coming up with all these numbers when they don't even have a test? They say that the test that they're, putatively going to use is like a DNA amplifying test where they amplify the strand of DNA that they're looking for, whatever, RNA, DNA, whatever, over and over and over and over again to see if it's present. But they say it can basically end up amplifying, stuff inside your body too, or whatever. There's a video about it. Doctors are coming out saying that the numbers are not. Doctors are coming up saying that they're being coached on what to write on the death certificates. They're saying if you think it's probable it's corona, or it's a possibility that there is corona, or they tested positive for corona and die under any circumstances, whether it's a complication from something else or whatever, mark it as corona. And there are families coming out saying, my loved one did not die of corona. There's like another fake news fake out about that. There's the fake news fake out where they showed the coffins from 2013 and used that for a 2000 for a current story about Italy. It's just all over the place.
But see, that situation isn't the medical field. That's media. And a lot of
the media is the problem.
Oh fuck yeah, big time, big time. I saw Big Blue, and I put the link out there. It's just one of those things, like when they were talking about these false positives and stuff. I know it was when they were sorting out how to do these tests, and I'm pretty sure that the test that they're talking about was the difference between going to this, a medical lab and that you do at the hospital compared to these at-home kits or whatever the fuck they were given. Again, I don't know. Dr. Bob said he wants to come on and talk about it, but it's one of those things where are you distinguishing what the media is putting out and you're perceiving it versus what actual CDC is saying, and you know what I mean? Like,
well, the CDC is saying that they're taking confirmed and unconfirmed cases. So that's like a potential to prop up the numbers right there. And the numbers are all over the place. In Italy, you have a different amount of mortality than, say, in another place based off of this. Yeah, and people were already getting epidemic levels of the flu with or without all this hype and hysteria.
Yeah, but in Italy, it was one of those situations where the hype happened and no one thought it was a big deal, and they went about their shit. And that's why it is where it is now for everyone, because we see what happens when they put the information out there and people don't take it seriously. So they're trying to make sure what happened in Italy doesn't happen anywhere else.
It's just really weird. I mean,
Lemon,
hey, Bob. Hey, Dr.
You need to be quiet now, Lemon.
Dr. Bob,
the people need to hear this, Dr. Bob. The people don't need to hear the zealotry, Dr. Bob. They need to hear information.
But here's the
they
thing.
They need to hear information.
You are full of shit, Lemon.
Well, here's the thing, Dr. Bob.
Do you have any counter information, Dr. Bob? We're waiting.
Yes, I do.
Hang on, Dr. Bob. Hang on, Lemon. Hang on, both. So, Lemon, I definitely want Dr. Bob to speak on this. Why he's a doctor. That's kind of one of the issues that, again, I want to hear what you're saying about it, Lemon, but it's only to be so it's corrected. Again, I'm definitely on the side of I don't know shit, and that's why I am listening. I don't look at it as one of those situations where they're trying to do anything. There's millions of ways they could fuck us and kill us all, do everything. It's not going to be a virus that they're talking about and keeping people inside. If they wanted to do some damage, they would say, hey, everyone go out and do something. I wanted to ask one question. I wanted to ask it earlier, but right after that, Dr. Bob, spiel away, my friend. Lemon, they have like police departments, SWAT teams, they use the microwave, the frequency waves for crowd control.
They talk about the 5G having like a 60 gigahertz band that can be absorbed by oxygen, keeping your body from absorbing it and suffocating you on a cellular level. Okay, that's why they're saying it might be 5G.
Okay, but you know how they use the sound waves and stuff for and frequencies for crowd control, right?
Yeah, it makes your skin feel like it's boiling or whatever. The water in your sweat glands feels like it's boiling.
It's like a weird feel. Yeah, that's true. But the situation is never have I heard anyone that knows about those weapons or methods of crowd control have ever talked about illnesses or viruses. So to think that 5G gives a virus is that's super far-fetched.
It depends on the direction of the weapon. They're linking it to.
But see, that's why I said the frequency weapons that the police departments use in crowd control, because those are high frequencies directed right at them. And 5G is not that way. So the whole sick and 5G topic are so far from each other, it's insane. Now, Dr. Bob, you've been listening, so anything you need to correct or anything you want to preface, please do. The floor is yours anytime we're talking COVID.
Well, first
Dr.
of all-
Bob, come in
first
here,
of all,
shut me up,
Lemon-
and talk it up. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Well, first of all, Lemon doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to viruses. Microwaves don't give you viruses. That would require spontaneous generation. Viruses are living particles that actually have a reproductive cycle, and they have a life cycle, all right? They're very well understood right now. We know exactly what's going on with COVID, and it has absolutely nothing to do with 5G or aliens or tinfoil hats or reading the Bible or not reading the Bible. It's a virus. It's an infectious disease. We've seen it before. This is the fourth pandemic of an illness like this that we have had since the turn of the 20th century. All right. We've studied these things. We see the routes. We're predicting things that are happening with it accurately. We are taking effective countermeasures, none of which involve turning off our fucking cell phones.
But Dr. Bob,
Stop. No, Lemon. You need to be quiet. You are spreading disinformation and fear and inaccurate information. So stop.
Dr. Bob,
Just
what about the
stop.
terrain theory of disease, which says that your body makes viruses and bacteria in response to damage? If the terrain theory is correct and your body makes viruses and
not.
bacteria
Stop.
itself, it would do it in response to damage.
not
Same for
have-
5G. There's your linkage
Sean-
right there,
Yeah,
doctor.
Right. So, hang on. So, Lemon, if you do have questions, phrase them as questions and keep them short. Dr. Bob, if Lemon asks questions, I want you to answer those because I want the
I'm
correct
happy
answers.
to ask questions, but I'm not going to be party to him spewing bullshit. Proclamations.
Okay, the question is, what about the terrain theory that says that your body makes viruses and bacteria? Is that a viable theory?
No, it is not, because it would require spontaneous generation of living material, and that does not occur.
Is what Lemon's confusing is the fact that our body has bacteria and produces bacteria? Is that what he's confusing?
Our bodies always have bacteria and viruses in it. You know, it's colonized in our guts and in our noses and various other places. The problem that you can run into is there are certain things that will reduce your immune system and cause existing viruses and bacteria to overgrow. The use of antibiotics can change your gut flora, for example.
Okay.
But the suggestion that something to do with nature causing viruses to spontaneously form in your body is nonsense. It's been disproven since Pasteur.
It wouldn't be spontaneous generation. It's just your body making it under the right conditions.
Your
with
body
its machinery.
doesn't have coronavirus sitting in it all the time. That's why you aren't sick.
But aren't there like hundreds of different coronaviruses that are already in the human population?
No, there's maybe 5. And 3 of them, you know, they're in 2 different categories. Coronavirus comes in 2 different categories. You have an alpha and a beta coronavirus. The alpha coronaviruses primarily hit your upper respiratory and sinuses, and they cause things that are very similar to colds. You may have some body aches with them, but really nothing really to speak of. There are 3 novel coronaviruses that mutated and preferentially hit the lungs. The first one is SARS. The second one is MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. And the last one is COVID-19. Now, these are very dangerous viruses. SARS had a very significant mortality rate in 2002, I believe, 2004. We had MERS in 2012 that had something like a 60% mortality rate.
Wow.
And then we're dealing with COVID right now, which has a mortality rate on the order of the Spanish influenza of 1918 to 1919/20. And that's about 4%. It's getting better right now, but we need to learn the lessons of Spanish influenza. There were 3 waves of it. The first wave got everybody sick, but very few died. Okay? and then it mutated and it went into a naive population again, and we had the second wave, which was as lethal as the Black Plague. Okay, right now we're in a very dangerous situation. Now, the illness in the United States, and I'm going to talk specifically from the United States, and the world experience with this is going to be similar, but I'm most familiar with it here. We saw the peak of coronavirus 1 to 2 days ago. It's starting to flatten off. All right, I'm watching this on a daily basis.
But
the problem that you're running.
Oh no, yeah, go. No, I think you're actually about to answer my question.
The problem that you're running into is the coronavirus in the United States is centered around ports of entry, specifically airports. So, for example, here in Michigan, we have the third highest rate in the entire United States. Okay?
That's why New York's so bad, right?
90% of those cases are centered around Detroit Metro Airport in southeastern Michigan. We have very few cases up here. My county has 1 case. So what's happening is the first peak is all of these people around the ports getting the disease. They are responding to social distancing, which is what was very effective in the Spanish influenza, and it's working here now too. You've got to close the schools, you've got to close the churches, and you have to close public gatherings.
Yeah.
And they did that, and it has to be done at a certain point in the epidemic, and you can cut the death rate by 50%. The problem is if it breaks out of Detroit and goes to Petoskey, all those people have no exposure with this, and the rest of the goddamn state can do exactly what Detroit's doing right now. So we may have a second wave from hell if we relax these things.
And
exactly. That's the thing that I'm concerned about. That's going to be lethal.
Yeah, the thing that's I've asked this question to multiple people that do this denying shit, and here's something that I haven't got an answer for, and it scares me because of what they say about it. And I ask, okay, well, if it was something that you believe, and Lemon, maybe you can answer this, because if it was a virus, something happening right now, and you knew it was real, there was no question, what measures would you expect to be happening at this moment?
Well, I go with the terrain theory of disease, which is much less fear prone and focuses on the conditions of the body.
You don't have that option.
No.
His question specifically.
Put it this way, in COVID virus, they're able to show you. You went to school for medicine, so you know that this is real. So it's real as far as you're concerned, Lemon. You know it's it is very real. But Lemon, and for you, you know it's real. What measures do you think should be happening right now?
Good nutrition, antiviral nutrition, herbs, strengthening the body, putting America back to work, not grinding the economy to a halt for a souped up cold. The terrain theory says that your body.
Lemon, this is why you're not president, because you'd kill 20 million people in this country, you fucking idiot.
What are you talking about? Anybody can be diagnosed with corona. They're just souping up the numbers. They're just cooking the books. The people that died before from something else are just marking as corona. That's it.
Okay, Lemon, I have a question then. What happens when you're wrong? It's now just so
you're informed and your body is strong.
No, wait.
By using herbs and nutrition.
Hang on.
How do you feel with 20 million deaths on your conscience? Are you going to go to heaven?
They just cook the books, Bob.
Hang on. No, stop, Lemon.
Just cook the books, Bob, Dr. Bob. On record saying that they're doing a clinical diagnosis, just looking at them and saying you have symptoms of respiratory distress. We're going to analyze you as having corona with or without a test. That's cooking up the books.
Hang on. You're doing what I was hoping you wouldn't do. Lemon, if this is for you, you understand this is real. You don't think the measure that
I don't think it is, Sean. I'm sorry.
If there was something.
I don't think so.
Okay.
There's too many inconsistencies. I don't think so.
Right. I don't want to get personal, but this is the only fucking possible way I could get this through your head. At some point in your life, was AIDS something that worried you?
Don't even get me started on AIDS. They haven't even isolated it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay,
Oh my
never
God.
mind.
It's just this all over again. And Fauci was at the head of that too.
Well, here's a problem.
People wake up. This is fake.
This is a problem. Here's a problem. Here's a problem, Lemon. Because what you're saying to me is auto hoax. And that is exactly why bad shit happens to it's not.
AIDS was never isolated. Look into it.
What do you mean?
They never isolated AIDS.
Okay.
Ever.
What does that have to do with the fact that it was here?
Oh my God. No isolated virus, no virus, Sean. How do you know that you have a virus and have a bunch of cellular debris that could be a mixture of anything? Stuff that your body made, cellular destroyed stuff. How do you know that you even have a virus, Sean? Come on.
I can tell you. I can tell you right now.
On this, I'm more than happy to.
No.
We can't have this asshole.
Yeah, no, hang on. Stay, because I'm getting to my what's in that too. Because Lemon, I unfortunately, I actually have a family member that died from AIDS. How do they know he had AIDS? All the complications that his white blood cells were going down, every situation that doesn't happen to a fucking healthy person is how they know HIV, first of all, is what he had. And AIDS is what ends up happening once your system is destroyed. To say,
I'm sorry that happened to your loved one, but the people say that it's not AIDS that's killing people. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy where people take toxic meds that suppress their immune system, and they're already in a system.
Okay, how much of this do you know is true?
I looked at Stephen Lanka's video. He talked about how they never isolated it.
Okay.
I looked at Terry Mullis's video. Doctors who talk about this stuff.
So you think you could pass a test and become a doctor right now? Okay, well, there you go. Dr. Bob, please.
Damn, I was about ready to give him a test, too.
Yeah, see, and that same thing. And that's how I know when it becomes a situation. And trust me, I wasn't going there for the back and forth of it. It was your fucking argument is ridiculous. But yeah, Dr. Bob, if you want to continue on, I do actually have some questions about it, just in the sense of
all right, go right ahead.
Being more comfortable.
Right now, I'm so pissed off at him right now because of this bullshit. And I can't even see straight.
Well, what aggravates me is there
are people dying because of there are people that are dying because of attitudes like that. And there are people that are looking to freaking YouTube to get basic medical information that they should be getting from people that actually know what the fuck they're talking about.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, but you know.
No. Usually,
as we used to say down south, it got my blood up.
No, Dr. Bob, you know me.
That means something's dying.
You know me. I'll tell you to leave if I don't like how you're talking to someone. I'll tell you to stop doing it.
I understand.
No, I didn't do it this time. I got issues with that too. I got serious issues with people that are denying this is happening. And here's why.
Go right ahead and ask your questions.
Yeah. Okay, so. I understand that there's a 2-week hiatus. Basic. This is a layman talking about it. How do I? Okay, so basically, right now for work, I'm working. I'm in construction, but we're mandatory masks now. I've been told. What I'm hearing is that the masks don't stop you from getting it. It basically means if you have it, you're not going to cough it onto somebody, right? That's basically what the masks are for.
Pretty much, yes. And it's designed to keep you from touching your face.
Okay. So, for instance, I run a heavy machine. Let's say I have it. I don't know I have it, so I'm still at work. Is it is it a virus that is then on that machine? Someone comes and gets on that same machine 5 minutes later, they could get it?
Theoretically, yes.
And that would be, mucus, sweat, they touch the machine and stuff. That's how that contact would happen.
Yes.
Basically. Okay. Because I'm very confused by the passing of it. So I get like the saliva, the mucus, all that kind of stuff. I get how that works. But to me, that 6 feet doesn't make sense to me. 6 feet apart, everyone. What is that doing? Is that just...
That actually works.
So does a virus not have a lifespan?
No, it doesn't have legs. What happens is you cough out mucus and saliva and shit. Okay, those have virus particles in them. Okay. Those viruses are droplets, and what happens is those droplets, like rain, are affected by gravity. So what you do is you cough it out, and there's only so far that you can expel that, and it'll fall to the ground. Now, what it'll do is it'll then coat the surfaces around you, which is why in your machinery, at the beginning of every shift and at the end of every shift, and anytime anybody else is in that machinery, you should wipe it down. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well,
You know what?
luckily, I
Get
don't.
you some nice bleach. Get you some nice bleach and some paper towels. Put them in a margarine container. Get them nice and soaky, and just wipe it all down. And you need to let it sit there for a couple, for 30 seconds or so.
Okay.
Keep it wet. Don't just put it on in a cursory fashion. You want to get it wet, and then let it sit there for at least 30 seconds or so. And then by the time it dries off, go ahead and do it. That'll reduce your chance of having any issues.
Okay, yeah, because I typically don't share a machine, like no one else gets on that machine, but that's something I should do just in practice at this point.
General purposes, all right. Especially if there's a shift that comes on after you. But you can't clean it too much, and just go ahead and wipe it down real quick. It's not, only takes 30 seconds, and besides, it's your machine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one that is assigned to you, and only you are messing with it because you're responsible for it. You're not going to let somebody else hop into it and break your damn machine.
No, but I see what you're saying, because, for instance, I have a fuel guy that comes by and he fuels it and greases the machine. He's going to touch it. Someone may have touched something. I can see why it's a...
hopefully not in the cab.
No, not in the cab. But I can definitely see why the added precaution is so important, because just because the contact between me and some other guy may not happen, there's the 100 people that are connected to whatever we're doing at that any given time.
Remember the old saying: if you shake hands with somebody, you shake hands with everybody that person shook hands with.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's.
And if you're going to cough or sneeze, getting a tickle in your nose and sneezing is one thing. That's not a sign that you have COVID or anything. That means that something irritated your nose. Don't sneeze on somebody.
Yeah.
Turn your head, sneeze into your elbow, do something.
That kind of scares me. That really scares me that we're telling people don't sneeze on people. That scares the crap out of me.
What, the people have to be told not to sneeze on people? There's sometimes it's okay to sneeze on people? Yeah, it's never okay to sneeze on people.
It's weird. It's
when I was in med school, we used to sit in these bleacher type seats in this auditorium. And, one of my buddies that sat next to me was one of these practical jokers. So every now and then what he would do is he'd sneak in a little spray bottle, full of water. And what he'd do is he'd pretend to sneeze, and then he'd blast the person in front of him in the back of the head.
That's not a good idea.
And after about four times, you ever want to see, one of your compadres just turn around with blood in their eyes.
My favorite
that's
thing.
Neither here nor there.
My favorite thing now is everyone's saying "fart to cover a cough." Funniest thing in the world. I think that is hilarious.
Yeah. All right. So what else do you want to know about it? As far as testing, do we need to test everybody to confirm that they have COVID-19? No, we do not.
Yeah, okay. That's another thing I wanted to ask you about.
Yes, we are in a pandemic right now.
Isn't
COVID-19 is running around. COVID-19 has very specific symptoms to it. If it waddles and quacks, it's a duck. Okay, in a situation like that. For example, when they had that measles epidemic in Samoa, they tried to say, oh, no, it's not measles, it's dengue fever. No, it's not. They're different diseases. It's very easy to tell them apart. And, these kids had measles. You don't need a 100% test to confirm that every single individual has the measles. Quite frankly, if you come in with symptoms of severe flu, respiratory distress, and have to be put on a ventilator, chances are, since the ICU is also full of people that came in with the exact same symptoms, and you have some blood work that, corresponds to COVID-19, specifically your monocyte count's really low, chances are you have COVID-19. When HIV first came out and we started seeing it, I was in med school and I was doing my clinical rotations in an emergency room in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And the way that we diagnosed HIV there was basically thrush and some patterns of blood tests that demonstrated patterns of blood tests. Then you combine that with the X-ray, and this guy's got PCP pneumonia. Okay, they have HIV. There's no other reason for them to have it. Or a Kaposi sarcoma. There's no other reason for them to have it.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Now, this is the big one.
And we have isolated HIV.
Yeah. Look, thank God. When it comes to symptoms testing, what do you do? That's where I'm seriously confused, especially right now. So,
the first thing that you do is, first of all, if you develop a flu-like illness and you're concerned that you may have COVID, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to contact either the public health department or the emergency room. They will telephone screen you.
Okay. That was, because that's my biggest worry, because there's probably a lot of people that were going to the hospitals.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't show up in an emergency room. You walk into my emergency room with a fever and coughing right now, I'm going to be really pissed. And as a matter of fact, when you look at these guys like Flat Earth Foker and these idiots that are doing that in Vancouver, what's happening? They're getting intercepted before they make it all the way into the waiting room. They're getting intercepted by nurses wearing masks that are not there to serve you freaking cookies.
Yeah,
do not waste their time.
Yeah, like they expect. What do you like? The COVID patients are going to be in the parking lot. Like, what the fuck? Like, what do you like? You go by a hospital.
They're going to have screening right at the front door of the hospital. Are you having these symptoms? Stop right there. Yeah. We're going to come out here to you and have a quick look at you.
Well, that's a.
They're going to come out and take your temperature.
Hey, Bob, can I ask you a question?
That master?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Anytime.
My girlfriend. She actually works in the hospital, and she just was off for 2 weeks because she had flu-like symptoms. And then she lost her sense of taste and smell, and everybody says that's COVID.
Worrisome. That's worrisome.
Now she was in the house with me. Well, I made her leave for a little while, but she was back in the house with me.
Are you sick?
No, I never had any symptoms.
All right. How long has she been back with you during that 2 week period?
Well, she wasn't even gone the whole 2 weeks. Like, she was around me with the no taste, no smell. She was gone for a total of about 6 days.
And how long since she's been back?
She's been back around 4 days, but during it was a period. It was a period. It was she was gone for 3 days.
No, I understand, but here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're okay tomorrow, chances are you're golden. All right.
Well, I've been okay the whole time. I've been around her for the last.
But if you're still okay tomorrow, you should be okay. All right.
Okay, but now what I'm saying is like the people that are asymptomatic. What I'm at with the question I'm trying to ask you is, I've been around her the whole time. It was a 3 day spurt, then it was a few days, and it was another 3 day spurt. But I've been around her the whole time. It's been about 18 days now. And I haven't had any type of symptoms.
Well, let me see if I can help you out here a little bit and set your mind at ease, okay? The fact that she lost her sense of taste and smell, was she having a chest cough?
No, she never had no fever, no shortness of breath, none of that.
Okay, the fact that she lost her sense of taste and smell is worrisome, but she doesn't have the rest of the cluster. So the chance that she actually had COVID is probably pretty low. Second of all, the fact that she's a walkie-talkie right now and not flying a vent in an ICU means that at the very least she's probably recovered if she did, and she successfully fought it off. Her immune system knocked it off. The fact that you have had 0 symptoms despite being in contact with her is very suggestive that you're going to be just fine. Most people that are exposed to it will develop symptoms within 5 days. Tomorrow is 5 days for you. I would say you're probably in pretty good shape. I think you might.
Tomorrow would be about 19 to 20 days.
Since the last time you said that she was
No,
gone for a while, and then okay, well, you
no,
didn't
no,
develop.
no.
The
This what
beginning.
happened. She works in the hospital. She's a nurse assistant, and when she first started developing the symptoms, I made her go and get tested. And she, I don't know if she did, but she say she got tested. And they tested her positive for the flu and negative for the COVID.
Okay, so she may have had the flu.
Yeah,
And
He
you
does have
can
it,
get loss of sense of your sense of smell and taste with the flu.
Oh.
Typically, you'll get severe body aches. You'll get red eyes. They call it coryza. And weepy eyes. You'll get a runny nose. And it's an upper respiratory type issue. The flu normally does not hit the lungs. If it does hit the lungs, what it does is it strips the lining away a little bit, and you're very prone to bacterial secondary infection. It doesn't sound like she had any of that.
Right?
Yeah, it's like
No,
bronchitis.
it strips the epithelial lining out of your lungs and breaks down the barriers to bacteria, and you get a bacterial pneumonia.
That's when you start coughing up the good stuff.
Yeah, and that's
the really good stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
today she went back. Today she went back to work. They gave her a 14 days off for quarantine
Again?
or whatever. She went back to work today.
Okay. Well, then she's made it through her quarantine. She's okay. So chances are you're okay too.
Now, what about, because
I'm only saying that because I don't want to spread it. I got sick family members,
No, I
and I
think
don't
you
want
did
to spread it.
absolutely the right thing.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not
that's-
diagnosing you over the internet or anything, but right now it sounds like you've done everything right. You've had your time. You would have come up with symptoms by now if you were going to get sick. I don't think that you are.
But
Tomorrow, definitely.
Dr. Bob, but weren't they saying for a while I'm not saying for a while, but I thought I had heard them saying that there are people that had it but didn't show symptoms of it.
Yeah, that's what I was asking Dr. Bob. Like, am I just
carriers.
Could it be possible that I'm asymptomatic?
Is anybody that you've been around sick?
I haven't gone around nobody. I isolated myself from everybody.
I would say probably no, especially if you're going to be in isolation a few more days. I think you should be okay with that.
Okay.
Now, the asymptomatic carriers were generally younger folks. I take it you're probably in that category.
I'm 40.
Yeah, well, you're not an old fart like me. But, that's a little older than I would expect. Generally, people in their 20s and 30s were what was the ones that were the asymptomatic carriers.
Okay.
But, no, I think everything sounds pretty good with you right now. I'd be pretty confident that, give this a couple of more days, with you. She's already been cleared to return to work. Unless you develop symptoms in the next day or two, I think you're going to be fine too.
Yeah, okay.
I'm glad that I calmed down now. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no.
I mean,
it was
put people like that in charge. It's bad enough we have going on what's going on right now, but with people like that going out and trying to spread these things, they're going to kill 20 million people in this country, and it really pisses me off, and it's completely preventable.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that regardless, like I said, I don't know shit. Like this is nowhere near my field. I don't even, I try researching it and it all confuses me. As far as I'm concerned, safe than sorry. Like you were saying, Master was saying you're saying you have family that's sick. I got family that's sick. My brother had a liver transplant. So Dr. Bob, he's probably one of the he's in that group of people that has to stay so far from people. It's insane on a regular basis.
Well, yeah, he's on immunosuppression. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean, my sister is a chronic asthmatic. And like when I go over there, I just wave through the window and I might sit on the porch and talk through the door or something like because I feel like I've been exposed to it, so I don't go around nobody. I've been in complete isolation.
That's smart.
Yeah, that's how it is. I haven't seen my brother in a month and a half because of this. I used to see him every day. That's how serious our family takes it. But it's like one of those things where it's people got to realize it. I don't even know how to say it. This idea that this is not what it is so ridiculous to be made, for that statement to be made by anyone besides a CDC doctor. As far as I'm concerned, they're the only ones probably qualified to say it's not even, something.
And even if it was a hoax, like we all should still take precaution. Like because
better safe than sorry.
Charges is just ridiculous. Like just take precaution. It could be a hoax. Just take precaution anyway.
All right, even if it's man-made, they're still going to get you sick.
Yeah, regardless, and that's the thing. Again,
right
this whole
now-
idea that they're going to be they're doing this for pop again, and I said this to the people that were like, they spray nanobots in the sky for population control. No, if they were
over our own families.
Yeah, exactly. Well, first of all, there's
And I'm in Detroit,
there's
so
a
it's
there's a billion different ways to get to
you stay
to
healthy
implant
down
something
there, man.
to implant somebody, and not have to do all these crazy things. It's very easy if they want to. Trust me, telling us there's a pandemic and telling us to social distance and to stay inside is the last thing they're going to tell you when they want everyone to get it. What the fuck?
That's right.
Does that make sense?
That's right, Sean.
Well, the thing is,
the
good
craziest
news is
thing.
that social distancing works. And the studies from 1918 demonstrate that it reduced the death rate by 50%.
It does.
And it reduces Sean's
the
trigger
death
rate
by
too.
50%.
I hate that's the worst part. It's
Big Blue.
Go ahead, Blue.
The craziest part of this whole thing is the mere suggestion that 5G could have anything to possibly do with it.
Yeah,
that is the most asinine, off the wall bullshit anybody has ever come up with. Holy shit!
Well, that whole
you're
argument.
You're telling me my cell phone is going to cause some critter to just materialize inside my body? What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Well, the crazy thing, what doesn't get me is how come we didn't have a 4G outcry? How come 4G wasn't half-ass killing people?
Well, let me just tell you one thing. This is not new. When the Spanish influenza came out in 1918, there was a lot of talk about increased radio traffic, electrification, and telephones being significant in that. I mean, there were rumors going around like you wouldn't believe. And that was for a couple of reasons. First, we were at war. There was a thing called the Sedition Act in place, which meant that if you said anything that was even construed as being against the war effort or harming the war effort, such as reporting an epidemic in military training camps, that's information straight for the Kaiser, right? 20-year felony. All right. They would not mention it until August publicly. And that was after the first wave was over.
Yeah.
They didn't talk about it before then. And the second thing is the health authority, the federal government didn't do shit. The health authorities came out and said, exactly what Trump said. Oh, we've only got 5 cases in a couple of days. It'll only be 1. We'll protect everybody from this virus. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, 560,000 Americans now are infected with it. That was on on February 26th. The president of the United States got on and told everybody this wasn't anything to worry about. Yeah, it was just the flu.
It wasn't a guy. His name was Michael something. He doesn't work for the CDC. He's contracted by the CDC to basically hunt out these viruses that kill or unknown anything. They're unknown. Basically, he hunts them and finds them and stuff. And he said that they put out a report in January.
They did.
Yeah, that was talking about how serious this could get if and
they did.
And he didn't say so much it was thrown away, like they didn't care, but it wasn't taken as seriously as it needed to be.
You heard him say that it wasn't that serious, it was just the flu. Mm-hmm. You are aware his grandfather died in the Spanish influenza in 1918, right? In 12 hours from being healthy to dead.
Wow.
That was Frederick Trump. Look it up.
Damn. I got a couple questions from people in the chat. If this question isn't medical, then don't answer it, but I don't understand it. So
all right.
It says it's from Marty, so I don't think it's trolly at all. He says,
Marty Moose?
Yeah. He says, I just don't know what he's asking is, so that's why. What do you think about the USA pulling out of the WHO?
We were never in
I think we have supported it.
What is
yeah?
And as far as
the U.S. has never been a member of the World Health Organization.
Oh, okay.
To my knowledge.
Who is the WHO? Who is the WHO? Who is the World Health Organization? It's a group of 5 labs, right?
Yeah, it's a total of 35 physicians, I think.
Yeah, but there's a thing. The World Health Organization is a group of 5 labs. All right. There's one in England. There's one in Japan, as I recall. Australia has one. The United States has one, and I think Switzerland has one. And those are the 5 labs that are the WHO.
Okay.
All right. These are the main health labs in the world.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised to find out the Russians didn't have a piece of that. I know they've got a national. I'm sure they've got a national. Some equivalent of the Centers for Disease Control, but I don't think they're part of the WHO. We are. And to sit down and reduce funding at a time like this in the middle of a pandemic, when everybody else is concerned about other things,
it doesn't.
To slip in a reduce in funding
is
typical.
Is the World Health Organization? Isn't that? Do they search for not undiscovered, yes, or is it? It's everything that to do with it.
Well, they monitor it. The saying at the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta is every day is 2 weeks from the spring of 1918. All right, which means that at any
hot mic, please.
How would you like to wake up to work and go into work every day knowing that within 2 weeks we could have a end of life event with a pandemic? And it's your responsibility to make sure that doesn't happen by finding it early and making good recommendations that are freaking followed. That's what the CDC does.
Yeah.
And what they do is they go search out viruses generally in Asia, because that seems to be where most of them start. Mm-hmm. And, we know exactly how long it takes one of these viruses to get over here for the most part. With air travel and everything, that's kind of screwed up. But even, it used to be a year. Now it's still a good 2 or 3 months, because we didn't really start cooking here. I mean, they started at the end of December in China. Mm-hmm. And we started getting cases right around March 1st or so, somewhere between March 1st and March 10th. We had a few cases prior to that, but it started taking off in March. And that's due to air travel. And by the way, the strain of COVID that they have in New York right now came from Europe. It didn't come from China.
Would that mean it mutated or it just came? Okay, so
they're thinking that it changed a little bit, because cases that were diagnosed, I believe it was prior to January 10th, I believe it was. I don't know if it was January or February. I think it was January 10th. It had a lethality rate of about 20%. And then it dropped to 4 for cases that were diagnosed after
I got
the
a
10th
question.
of January.
Hey, what's up, Jose?
¿Tiene preguntas?
Sí.
Okay.
Now, this is kind of a random statistic number I'm doing in my mind. Me, personally, one person with a big family in Puerto Rico. I got family in Ohio. I got family in New York, in Florida, and a lot of people that I know surrounding me. With the numbers of casualties right now with this COVID, versus the number of an individual like me, I say 200 people, family members and friends and close people. And
yes,
nobody have been affected. Is that a fair statement? Because a lot of people, if I count every individual that said, I don't know anybody that has it from my family or friends, like directly. Maybe they know somebody that knows somebody, but is that a fair statement? Like you should meet somebody that have had somebody that knows a patient?
No. It would be one in 350 people right now, right? Because what we've got, say we have 1 million cases. I think it's a little more than that right now. There are 350 million people in this country. That means you have a chance of meeting you have a 1 in 350 chance of knowing somebody with COVID. And of those cases, it's not just random every 350th person. What you do is you get 1,000 people, and 3 people in one family will have it. The thing about it is, I don't know if you were on when I talked a little bit earlier. Right now, most of our cases are centered around ports of entry. With the airports at New York, with the airport in Detroit, Los Angeles, probably Atlanta. Florida is not that badly hit just yet, but I think that they may be in the second wave.
New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about. I have talked to my family in Cleveland, Ohio, New York, that's Bronx, Manhattan, and someplace else, and also
New
in
York.
Boston, Massachusetts. I got a bunch of family. So I've spoken with all the people. I'm in Puerto Rico, and none of us have met anybody close to us that have had it. It's my personal testimony.
Well, let me ask you a quick question then, Jose. Do you think that you're right that it's not that big of a deal?
Oh, no,
And not that
I'm
wide?
not. Yeah.
No, hang on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that you're right that it's not that big of a deal and not that pervasive, or do you think you're lucky?
No, I say is interesting that none of my close ones know anybody else that haven't.
I hope that it stays that way. I sincerely do, but I think that what you're dealing with is something more on the lucky end of the spectrum than the right.
That's what scares the shit out of me.
That's fair, yeah. That's fair.
What scares me is that for not you, Jose, for people who think this isn't happening, the realization that someone in their family or themselves have to get it to make them realize that this isn't BS. And if you think look at it that way, there's a lot of people that are going to end up getting this, think it's BS, and have to pass it around to everyone else, and then something happened to someone they know really close or themselves to then think to realize it's not BS. But by that time, they've already fucked everything.
Well, here's an interesting statistic for you. If about 50% of the people get it, that's pretty much optimal. All right. Mm-hmm. If you get 80% that get it, you overwhelm resources. If you get 30% that get it, you don't have enough herd immunity built up, and you'll get a relapse in a second wave. Mm. But if you can get about 50% of the people that end up getting it over a reasonable period of time, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, you're not necessarily overwhelming the system, but you're developing herd immunity at a maximal rate. And that's where social distancing comes in. The idea is, if you have an R0 value of 2, okay, the common flu is about 1.3. If you have an R0 value, means that everybody that has it's going to infect 2 people. Okay, you're going to end up the rate of that infection will grow until about 50% of the people have it. The R0 value for COVID is 3.
Wow.
So we're looking at 60 to 70%. With the social distancing, we're bringing that down a little bit. And the R0 value is now, as far as I know, a little bit below 2, which is good. Mm. When it gets below 1, the infection dies off. But one of the biggest problems that they had was that they thought they beat the flu, and then they relaxed all of the restrictions after the second wave, and then the third wave came and bit them in the ass.
Is it too early, or viruses work this way? It being like a seasonal thing. For instance, we see a huge decrease in cases, and then next year around this time it
will more than likely mutate by then, because the Spanish influenza mutated into seasonal flu after the third wave.
Okay, I see.
All right,
and that's because of herd immunity. That's because of the herd immunity that it became the common flu, or what you're saying?
Well, it was very widespread, number one, and number two, his viruses are constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's the hunt for the flu, the right vaccine for the flu and stuff. Yeah.
Now, in 1918, what happened, and probably what happened with COVID as well. Well, I mean, it's the same basic concept. What you have is a virus in, say, a chicken. And there's a lot of live markets in China. Chicken or bats is a good vector for these things. What they do is they end up giving it to a pig, and then a pig gets a human influenza at the same time. So you have 2 strains of influenza in the same animal. Those strains will mix and match their hemagglutinins and their neuraminidase. The hemagglutinin is the glycoprotein on the surface of the virus that helps the virus get into the cell.
Yeah.
Then it does a thing, it takes over the cell's machinery, it reproduces itself, and then the neuraminidase is what breaks it out so that it gets into the bloodstream and infects the rest of it.
Yeah,
so that's one way.
That's it tricking the cells, right? The protein. because it wants to feed on that. Our cells want the protein, and
these viruses. That's one way the viruses change. The other way is that you can actually have a H1N1 influenza, for example, that undergoes a mutation in its RNA in the RNA in the virus itself, and still remains an H1N1 influenza, but it's much more virulent. The H and the N is what makes it. The H and the N is what makes it so that you can transmit it and everything, and then the RNA stuff that's inside of it includes some of the symptoms of the disease. Like with Spanish flu, they had hemoptysis, where you'd cough up bloody, frothy sputum and die. You can get another H1N1 influenza that doesn't cause that. That's a slight variation in the RNA and the actual in the viral particle itself, not the stuff that's on top of it. All right. I got to take a quick phone call. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Thank you. No worries. Yeah, it's definitely one of those situations where it's not like one of these things where science denying can have a argument for half a second. This is definitely one of those things that if you're not qualified, where do you get the balls to make claims about it? That's how I see it. It doesn't make sense to me. As far as I'm concerned, like I said, I do have family that it would affect. So to me, it's better safe than sorry. Realistically, I mean.
Hey, just a quick comment to Hannah, because I say like, I don't know how it started, but I say like, no, my family do live in hot places. And she said like, yeah, but if they live in hot, temperature, I say, no, hot as there's a lot of cases where they live, that's hot areas is what I call, So Hannah say, so have they all tested themselves? My family, friends, people I know? No, they feel great. They're not sick, and believe me, they will test themselves because they are like in the mainstream meme, like they are freaking out in all the social media, like, oh my God, pray for everybody and this. I'm not, because I'm more of an the awake side, like I don't have to freak out, but they are like really into it. I'm trying to snap them out, like, you know what? Stop watching news for a little bit, just chill, relax, stay home. And they like freaking out. So believe me, if they feel a little bit of something, they will test themselves. So as for right now, knock on wood, everybody's good. All the people I know.
Good. That's
nothing wrong, and I don't mean anything bad. So maybe that people misrepresenting me when I say they all live in the meme right now. The meme, I mean, like they are like really hooked into the news and sharing all these articles that people reshare and reshare. I'm not. I'm more of a laid back.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's kind of. I'm kind of stuck in between the do I get, start worrying a little bit more, or do I just keep it cool? Because no matter what, panic is not going to work for shit. But yeah, it's, I don't know how to say. To me, it's one of those things where it's, like I said, better safe than sorry. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want confirmation that it's real. That's as simple as it gets, really. I'd rather take the precautions to not have to worry about that. I like to take the precautions to not be a problem. I don't know if I would show symptoms. If I didn't show symptoms, it'd be insanely bad to be walking around acting as if something's not happening. All that's going to do is either it's going to kill people, or it's going to kill people.
Yep. Say just take care of yourself as the flu season, as anything else, as every day that you should don't get into people's faces, unknown people. You don't know where they've been. You don't know what they got. Just keep your distance all the time. We kind of, at least we're made out of that. Just taking care of ourselves, or on distance wise or whatever. I mean, not me. I'm kind of a ladies' man, but that's something else. Boom.
Let's see. Trying to look in the chat, see if anyone else had any questions. Dr. Rob's on the phone right now, Fred, so I can't get the question out right now. Yeah, Yeah, I see what you're saying, Hannah. Hannah said, "Be smart, good hygiene." Yeah, as far like I said, I luckily in the line of work I do, I'm not around people like that. But you know, I still go to the store, still do that kind of stuff. But better safe than sorry, and deal with it if it does unfortunately happen, I guess. But I'm also not going out and hanging out with people and going to the fucking beach and trying to go to the movies and shit. That stuff doesn't make
Asthma
sense.
has nothing. The asthma has nothing to do with the COVID. My ex and my sister, they got a bad case of asthma. They're losing their shit, and it's just asthma what they get. It's just the desperation of watching all this, like, oh my god, and they're like, that's it. But they
if you already have
themselves and the machines, and that's it. We good.
Say if you already have respiratory conditions,
Yeah.
which is what this virus attacks, then it's gonna make it even harder for your body to fight it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not saying asthma causes it.
Put it this way: anything that keeps you from being what medical would consider healthy is a factor. Asthma is going to be a factor. Asthma is not going to make it so you would get it faster or get it or more susceptible to it. It's just going to mean the respiratory symptoms that come along with it are going to be worse for someone who already has respiratory problems. So
So you think a person with respiratory, let's say asthma, and he works at Walmart and wear no mask and hang out, come across hundreds of people every day, do you think is?
I think
I don't think that's a good thing to do.
I think
they're in more risk with somebody who doesn't have asthma. How about that, Jose?
No, about that. I'm saying because there's somebody that I know that is going through this right now.
I'm saying
because hundreds of people every day, no wear a mask, and that's it, and then hang out with the family when they come back home. Yeah.
It's not that you're gonna be more likely to catch it. It's that if you do catch it, it's gonna be harder to fight it.
Yeah.
If you have asthma.
I think grocery store employees should all be issued like face visors, masks, gloves, smocks, the whole 9 yards. They're out there exposing themselves every day, and they deserve protection.
Yeah. Shout out to my ex. She works at Walmart. She doesn't wear a mask, and we're good. We're happy. She comes home every day. We hang out. Yep. Happy and healthy. Boom.
Well, but why take a chance?
Why? What's it different? What is different? What can't you do? Wear a mask? It's uncomfortable.
So is COVID.
It's not mandatory for her to work in there wear a mask. It's optional.
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want. We're just saying that if you have asthma, it's harder to fight it. That's it. Facts.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. I told her. She knows. She knows.
If it's not mandatory, then it's a personal choice. It's not a bad choice. You know what I mean? It's not someone going, nothing's happening. This isn't real. That's not that.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why I am more of a relaxed mode and happy that this is, for my personal point of view, because experiencing from zero to now to where we are now, every day she been working, coming back home, we hanging out and sit down, watch movies and shit, because I'm just living back with her or whatever. So we good. Healthy.
Yeah, but the problem is that it takes this one asshole who has the symptoms and thinks he's okay to go to her aisle and her have to touch the eggs or whatever he touched. That's how simple it is. I mean, I'm not, you know what I mean? That's the level of measures we're at because we don't want just that simple interaction to happen. You know what I mean? Because it could change everything.
I understand, yeah. Marimus, stop being so skeptical about it, like angry. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not that I'm being skeptical. It's that I'm being positive. It's a very big difference.
Yeah, I don't think Jose's ever alluded to it not being real at all. I've never heard anything like it.
Yeah, no, I always keep it just real and try to be positive, like always with a smile, always positive, and try to go with, let's hope everything goes well. That's all,
Yeah, there is a difference between what Jose's doing and then someone who doesn't think it's actually happening or is like, oh, they're overreacting completely. I think it's a lot of people are acting. I don't think everyone. Put it this way, I don't think everyone should be as worried as I am. I don't think everyone should be as worried as Marty Moose. Everyone shouldn't be as
No, I
worried as, you
understand.
know what
Exactly,
I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys see me on camera every day, and I'm going through this every day.
Yeah.
We are right, man. Like, for real, you know. Believe me, if I feel bad or if I would have been sick, you guys wouldn't know because you see me laughing out loud in my chats and shit, you know. We get
Yeah,
that.
that day you come tomorrow. You're it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, what now? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So that's the thing.
I know. I understand.
It's because I see 100% where you're coming from. You don't see it. You don't know anyone. So in your brain, you're going, how do I react to this? And it's one of those things where, as far as I'm concerned, you pray you don't have to. And I say pray,
Exactly,
but I don't really pray. But
No,
you know
I
what
understand.
I mean? Yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to say. I mean, fucking.
There's some interesting cases, you know. There's some really hardcore, and I like John Watson. I appreciate him that his wife or partner or whatever works in a hospital and coming across all these, you know, the testimonies. You know, he's really shooken out by it because I guess he sees, you know, he knows a lot of things. So I appreciate it if they keep their, you know, what they're doing, their protocol on keeping clean and staying healthy and all that. Please do so. Now, some people take a different approach, like me, you know, more of a lay back and be positive, more of a spiritual take more than a physical take, you know. We humans are like that, you know. We got different approaches.
Well, more importantly, you have the right to think it's not real. What's important and what's important to realize is that you're not running around telling people they need to or they should think
whatsoever.
like,
No,
and much respect to you on that. You acting the way you do is how you handle the situation, and that's what people need to realize. I'm definitely not getting the same vibes from fucking Jose I did from Lemon, which I apologize to everyone. I literally got sideswiped by the actual adult conversation me and Lemon were having prior to that. And something in my brain went, let's talk about a serious situation, and I completely forgot who I was talking to. So I do that was my fault. I when I asked that COVID question, I literally didn't realize
you
who I
took
was
yourself
asking.
down the rabbit hole, man.
Yeah, because what it was, we were having a decent conversation, so I wasn't thinking, don't bring that up to Lemon, and the second I did, I realized I fucked up. But I mean, I can't help it because it's something I want to talk about. I'm just apologizing because I did start that conversation, and I did start that conversation with the wrong person. So.
Yeah, and this is why I really want to avoid talking about it on my channel, because I could be a little more flexible, because I could understand maybe both points of view, even though I know one is really bad, but I wouldn't know where to step in and break, you know, and throw the line. So I'd rather completely avoid it, you know.
Yeah, well, luckily Dr. Bob was here. I definitely wouldn't have let that slide. I would have definitely stepped in. What scares me is the channels that are talking about this to be BS, and everyone's just listening. No one's saying anything, or they're even worse when they're agreeing, like as if they are all doctors themselves. That scares the shit out of me. Lemon doing what Lemon did, I honestly I don't mind. Why? Because it made Dr. Bob come in here and spew out a bunch of information that we didn't know, and, you know, wasn't going to be asked during that time, but could be asked because he is here. I definitely don't. I don't think having that opinion is wrong, because I have my own opinions. Jose has his own opinions. I think it's wrong when your opinion is the only one heard, and no one is fight, and no one has an opinion about what's being said. If that makes sense. Otherwise, I mean, what the fuck are we all doing here? We all have different opinions.
Right.
I'm looking at my panel, maybe besides Khalid, Master Khalid right here, because we haven't talked that many times. But I've had arguments with every single person on my panel about a topic that we did not agree on.
Disagree completely. Yeah, we get pissed off about it. Yeah,
we can be upset that Lemon has that argument against vaccines, the shape of the earth, COVID, and all that shit. But the reality is that he has every right to fucking say it as anyone else. It's my responsibility, because it's on my platform, to not allow that to be the only narrative, especially because I don't agree with it. But at the same time, I mean, if that were the case, we shouldn't be talking to anybody because we all don't think the same.
I'll be back in 5.
Yeah. But yeah, I did want to apologize to everyone for the Lemon situation. I fucked up on that one. That was definitely me. But yeah, this is definitely, a lot of people do shy away from it, understandably so. I openly will tell you now, I don't mind talking about it because I also don't mind if my channel got taken down. It's not that same thing for me. I have other channels. Better yet, I'll go over to fucking Jose's and say what I gotta say. I do anyway, right? So for me, it's a little different. That, and also I have so many fucking questions about it, and I know so little about the medical field that I need Dr. Bob's, Brian's, Hannah. I need people that are verbal diarrhea. I need those people in that profession to give me information. And how do I know they're being honest about the information they're giving? They're not textbooks giving it to me. They're explaining it to me. They're answering questions. They're helping understand things. That to me says that they're basing their information more on actual data than instead of beliefs or the fear train, as far as what I call it. And then again, we're all battling that shit with the media too. We're all fucked. It's just all about, seriously, what it really comes down to is do you give a fuck? Really? We can't control anyone else but ourselves. Our government, everyone just needs to vote.
We have to worry about infecting others. Like, that's what I was asking Dr. Bob. Like, if I'm asymptomatic, well, I might be asymptomatic, and but I don't want to infect anybody else. Like, I don't care if I go into a grocery store. I don't care if it's a stranger. I don't want to affect anybody else. So I've been isolated.
And that's exactly what it amounts to. It's like, first of all, for people who keep acting as if the governments are holding us hostages in our house. No, they've asked you to social distance. They didn't say, we're taking over everyone in your house. We got a curfew. Well, yet. But until then, again, I don't get where a conspiracy is in this thing at all. It's literally just, do you give a fuck about humans?
Hey, Sean, to be honest with you, I want the military to come through and lock this mug down. Don't let nobody leave their house for 14 days. That's what I'm ready for, because we need this to go away. We need this to go away.
How dare you, man? How dare you?
Well, see, here's the thing. We can get, the same process can happen of getting through this. And again, fully my opinion, because I really don't know the numbers or how it works. But I think if we as humans can give a fuck and social distance and not give, or not walk around as if we don't give a fuck, like Dr. Bob was saying, we're going to see numbers go down. It's like, again, this whole situation boggles my mind. To me, it's just.
But when you got conspirators out here spreading this nonsense, they are the ones that's most dangerous, because they don't think it's real, and they can be having it and spreading it. So that's what I mean when I say, like, I wouldn't mind the government coming through. Like, that's the last thing I ever
think about it, Master Kalik. You're going now to the opposite extreme, It's a little, either you're attacking the ones in the left, but you're way to the right, bro. You got to take a little bit of a lay back,
What you're saying, okay, so put it this way. If the government steps in, it's because we couldn't do it. That's worst case scenario. What they're asking to do, it would actually be a lot harder for the military to do than it would be for us to do it. It would probably cause more problems if just instantly we had National Guard standing outside our doors telling us to stay inside. I think that's when problems would start. But at the same time, that's also why we're getting updates every day. That's why they're trying to do what they can to fix the situation. But at the same time, I mean, there's that fine line. It's a really, really fine line between are humans adults, or do we have to treat them like they're 12 years old and tell them to cover their mouth when they cough?
And that's the point I'm coming from, because it's too many of us that's not taking it seriously.
Exactly.
So we may need an authority to step in and say, look, give us 2 weeks. Just stay inside. Give us 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only thing I'm saying.
In a sense, I agree. If it got to that point, but at the same time, because I know if they step in, we're fucked. If put it this way, if you hear a National Guard stepping in, then we need to start talking realistically about what next. Because at that point, our our police, the state, all fail if the National Guard comes in.
Yeah, I'll be happy if they come every other day home. They bring me cigars, energy drinks, maybe buy me bread and milk, and then Taco Bell every once in a while, or just mix it up, a little pizza or something. I'm all right. I'll stay home every day, bro.
Freaking MREs and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, hang on, Jose. Don't you live stream outside?
Yes, I do.
You wouldn't be able to live stream outside anymore.
It's in the backyard. It's hidden from the street in the front.
They got helicopters.
Oh shit! There is a little roof thingy that blocked me. They don't see me.
Then
I got my big umbrella up.
But I'm not streaming on it.
If you got 5 acres of your own property, I'm pretty sure you're social distancing pretty well.
Oh yeah. That's the other thing. I mean, again, I feel pretty adamant about being safe in the fact that, again, I go to work, but I come within maybe 4 feet of a person every 5 or 6 hours at work, if that. And then I come home and hang out with you fuckers. I'm pretty good.
Yep.
Now, Lael, I'm pretty sure Lael can infect us through the internet, so we need to be careful with him.
Hey, Sean.
Mr. Victory says, why does it happen every 100 years? An outbreak. 1820, 1920, is that for real?
1720 was the first one. 1720, 1820, 1920, and now 2020, yeah.
Okay, that's
yeah, but
I'm not saying anything.
We've had smaller outbreaks in between too.
Yeah, SARS, MERS.
Spanish flu was 1918 to 1920. It didn't start in 1920.
I think that still counts.
That's a lot of years. That's years. Not days or months. That's years.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. Everything I think
is
safe.
From 1720 to 1722 was the plague. Then the cholera. Then we had the cholera was in the 1820s. Then we had the Spanish flu in the 1920s, and now the coronavirus in the 2020. Roughly 1918, 1920, every roughly 100 years, rounded it up from 1918 to 1919. So it's every 100 years, 5 less, 5 more. Around there.
I guess that just means people get sick. What scares me is the shit that's a billion times worse that they haven't found yet, because it's out there.
Yeah, there's always something out there. But the scariest part is what people do during the entire thing.
Yeah,
they make it so much worse. There are literally people going to work that don't want to go to work. They have to. They have to go into work to keep providing with different things. Different things we take for granted.
Now that scares. That's a topic that that you want to talk about worry, what we should actually be talking about, what next? This is unprecedented. So many people out of work right now because of it. Now, yeah, they're doing stimulus checks and all that kind of shit. And this topic comes from, I was listening to NPR talk radio, but they were talking about the amounts that they're going to be giving. I think it's $1,200 an adult, $500-600 for a kid. They're saying that's not enough here in California. They're talking about I guess they passed some law or something that went through says that a mortgage company can't foreclose they have to give them 60 days during this time, and in all these different situations, a lot of mom and pops are gonna fucking get hit hard. The economy's screwed. That's in my opinion, because it's not something that we're all gonna go back to work for all of a sudden one day. It's not gonna happen that way.
No, definitely not. I mean, even now, just thinking about all the smaller things that are affected, a lot of those smaller businesses and things like that help your community out, they may not make it back.
Yeah, that's real frightening, and I feel bad because again.
You said 600 per kid is enough?
It's $500 to $600 per kid. So
that's not enough in California?
Fuck no. Not even close.
Tough luck.
The average studio apartment right now is about $1,100 to $1,500 a month, and that's cheap. That's real cheap. Right now, I'm in a three-bedroom house, 2-story with a garage, and right now I'm paying $28 a month.
Did y'all get it? Did anybody get the check yet?
No.
You're not at liberty to say.
No. Well, because my girl, she got laid off because of COVID, but she's gotten her unemployment already, which was actually really fast. But she hasn't got the stimulus yet. I don't think anyone gets that until the end of April, first week of May. I think. Did you really?
Yeah.
Huh. What did you
I
do?
know. I was like, whoa, wow.
Did you call like your local border patrol and get a hookup?
I called ICE to say, y'all can kiss my butt. I'm going to Mexico.
You're not Mexican.
I know. And everybody who runs to me, never mind. You missed it.
That means your people had to cross 2 borders. You're a double illegal.
Double crosser.
Yep. That's crazy.
Hey, Sean, you kicked
control yourself with
Lemonbird,
racist comments.
No, Lemonbird left.
Oh, he left on his own.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I make it very. I make it very vocal when I boot people off my panel. I want them to know it was me.
I was telling Carlos, don't troll yourself with racist comments to yourself, man. Come on, let me do that.
Carlos, how you doing, bro?
Just chilling, bro. What's up with you?
What were you working on a minute ago?
Man, wanted to say what's up to you, man. I kind of rubbed you the wrong way the last time we was on, man. I want to let you know ain't nothing like that.
I came in hot, man. I got some hood in me,
Yeah, I got a lot of hood in me too, man. But I'm trying to get rid of it.
Nobody with more hood than Slick James. Nobody with more hood than Slick James.
Slick
James is the hood.
Hey, Jose. Man, you was the man, Jose, man. Look, man, that show you run, man, you was the man, dude. You let everybody come through and do their thing. You know what I'm saying? You the man, man. You know how to run your show, man. You're going to have a big show soon. Your show is going to be huge.
Appreciate it. Good looking out. Yeah, I'm copying the best, Sean. Boom.
Yeah, right. You don't get triggered. You don't get triggered enough. You don't get triggered enough.
Hey,
yeah, right.
I've been wanting to ask you. Okay, let's get off the serious. Let's get back to some stupid.
All right.
You are very smart. You and Jose, y'all are very smart guys because y'all got out of that flat earth nonsense easy. And I think I asked you this before, but I want some clarification. Was it this goes for you and Jose. Was it your distrust for government that made you even think about flat Earth?
No, for me, no. I don't trust my government, but at the same time, I do. I just know they do shady shit. When I ran into flat Earth, I obviously thought it was bullshit. It sounds funny, but when I became a flat earther, it had nothing to do with that whole.
Okay.
Why would the government lie? I was like, I have no fucking clue. Why would they lie about that? But for me, it was my immediate area. I never. It didn't even make sense that the government would be behind it. But again, at the time, I wasn't thinking clearly. I guess I was questioning too much other crap to think about the logical shit.
Okay, so second question is, what made you even? I mean, because you kind of just said it, but like you kind of agreed with me when I said, was it your distrust for the government, or were you just were you really caught up in conspiracy theories?
Yes, I've always been a conspiracy theorist, but see, this is why. So Davros hates it when I call myself a conspiracy theorist because, in theory, I'm not. Because when something happens, I don't add this theory onto something. What I like to do is I like to look into conspiracies, and then I will weigh my opinion on it through the evidence I find through it. When I became a flat earther, it wasn't based on everything's a hoax. It wasn't based on a lot of that stuff. It was based on what I observed and how I felt, how to express what I observed.
Okay, when you say you became a flat earther, did you like really promote flat Earth and deny all science? Or were you promoting what you thought was the truth, and then when it really hit you, you was like, "Nah, flat Earth is not." You know what I'm saying? Like because
yeah. I was definitely promoting science has issues because what I would do is I would run around finding holes in issues, the horizon problem, which is for the universe, and all these other situations. I would find these little things, and that was good enough for me. But I always made it clear when I was a flat earther. Again, just like now, that's the really weird thing. Again, this is how I know it was my understanding that is why I was a flat earther. If you go back in my live streams from when I was a flat earther, you're not going to hear very much different talk about certain topics and situations than you will hear me say right now. Besides for the evidence and the understanding of how things work, my idea of what was going on was the same. I believed in space. I believed in satellites. My problem was then I had to figure out a way for propulsion in space to work under those guides. When it came down to different conspiracies, like 9/11, it's probably a big one for me. I don't talk about holograms. That shit makes no sense. Planes hit it. I talk about the paper trails. I talk about the reasons why they would need to do this for that reason. I don't do the thermites and the bombs and all that shit. So again, I'm on a very different spectrum of conspiracy theorist, which is also, if you knew me as a flat earther, I wasn't welcomed everywhere. I got in a lot of, again, I'll say this, I got in more debates with flat earthers as a flat earther than I ever have as a glober.
Okay. Because you wasn't so far down a rabbit hole like these other guys are. Like that's the point I was making. So for my analysis of you, you were never actually a flat earther.
No,
you were searching.
Yes,
you was actually searching.
These
Yes. Guys don't actually search. Now Jose, same question for you.
I was deep, bro, and it was my spirit of curiosity. When I came across that, it was a joke, and I said, like, there might be something in here. Something clicked on me, opened my brain. I said, holy shit, I have discovered something. And one of the few the few ones that know there's a big lie and are going to be a part of history. Are going to be in the books, are going to be this big group of people discovering, figuring out the new thing of everything. And I went down deep inside the rabbit hole. But I wasn't a debater. I was never. I was in panels, joining panels. I was chopping in and there. I did a lot of observations, cherry picking some observations that I could kind of say, like, yeah, this could be just, whatever. But I deleted a lot of observations that I said, like, this might look like a glow because it's disappearing from the bottom up. So let me not present this one and hide it. Kind of cherry pick a little bit. And then at one moment, uh, I was looking for alternatives and I wanted to find this alternative, a model, how it works, illustrations, explanations for everything. When all I saw in the flat earth inside, a little few weeks before I went out, everything clicked on me. I said, dude, I am only here denying everything, asking questions and not presenting anything as an alternative. And then I say, let me see what they agree on a model, how the work sounds, how things disappear from the bottom up, gravity, and I saw everything scattered all over the place. And I put myself in the line. I said, right, ask me all the questions about flat earth, and I got you all the answers. And at the end of the day, I could answer zero questions. I didn't have any explanation for nothing. All my thing was, it I don't believe it. It might be something else. Who knows? I don't care. It doesn't matter. I just see it because it's there. So I said, like, what am I doing here? Let me get out, adopt the globe model back because it has all the explanations. Everything works beautifully. While I'm still looking. Now, what I gain of it, curiosity, the curious mind, trying to find holes, gaps, discrepancies, which there are a lot of questions to be asked, and I really do ask the questions. But that comes with not having a higher education that I never study all this, and I'm learning it in the daily basis, little by little on the go. I'm trying to suck in a high degree of education in a few hours show where we have to kind of do the referee and the avoiding the yelling. So I'm little by little getting there. I still got the questions, but I know I know that flat earth is just that little meme that I got caught into.
So you guys, what I'm hearing is that you guys were actual truth seekers. You guys wasn't too willing to lie for the flat earth. You guys wasn't posed. You guys actually, took on to this and believed it for a minute. But when you seen the evidence, you didn't deny the evidence. Now, Jose, you said that you tried to deny the evidence for a little bit, but you're not an idiot, so it wouldn't let you go that deep into the rabbit hole. So you guys came out of it. And my point of asking you guys this question is, when we see people like the Plain Truth, Chris Berry, Jeranism, all of these guys, they know that every point they make is debunked on the spot. They know it. But they have this agenda. You guys didn't have an agenda. Now, Jose, you kind of alluded to, you kind of had an agenda in the beginning, but you were so honest with yourself that you wouldn't let yourself go down that rabbit hole.
What's important what's important to remember about Jose, and Jose, this is 100% what I saw. This has nothing to do with why or if or anything for you. I think what the progression for Jose was different because of where he was at. He was around Nathan Oakley, Arwen, all these guys that will drill into your head. It's flat, and if you're not a flat earther, you're the worst person on earth. Myself, I came from the section of flat earth where exactly how I run my panels. Let's have a respectful conversation. We can get somewhere. All that personal shit is pointless. So I came from the exact opposite of that. So for me,
I was a follower. I was just a Nathan Oakley panelist member, one of the bunch of the Nathan Oakley things. I never spoke up a lot. I spoke up some things that I could speak up and not get yelled at or shouted at or present some evidence because I didn't want to kind of lose being part of the group, and I didn't want nobody to shout at me, so I was mostly quiet, humble. I wanted to speak sometimes, but I beat my tongue sometimes. I said, let me just hang in here and do my thing,
And the other side of that is speaking out about stuff that doesn't sound right. Well, That's why, when I was a flat earther, I didn't get along with a lot of flat earthers because they didn't like that I did that. At the time, I didn't realize what was going on. Now, I definitely have a different view of it. And when I say that me and Jose and the few others are rare, I 100% mean that now. I used to think it was a lot more truth seekers, but it's to me, and this is to people that participate in panels and debates. No one else. Only the Travises, the Chris Berrys, the Nathans, the people that present themselves as authorities almost. They don't have anything. They don't have anything to back what they're saying. And I noticed that real quick as when I left Flat Earth, and I'm at the point now where I don't think I'm even looking for Jose's and Shang-Chi's. I'm just looking for the ones that I thought maybe were here for legit, truth seeking.
So Sean and Jose, what do you think about the Chris Berrys and the Nathan Oakleys and the Plain Truth?
Oh no!
Like
Negative.
what do you think
Negative.
about them? Do you think that they actually believe this, or are they just lying to promote their agenda?
For me to be happy with them as for now, that I can get regain my trust on them and be happy with them. I say like, no, I'll stand by these guys. I want a white knight for them. When they come in and they say, all right, you know what, you guys are right. Let's say Earth is a sphere, and I understand it, and this is how the Earth you guys say works. Let's say this happened hypothetically. The Plain Truth say, all right, so the sunrise and sunset, right? The sun is 93 million miles away, and we get the light 8 minutes, and when it's getting to the horizon, we look into the atmosphere. If he explained it well, then say, but let's entertain this idea. Let's try to find out an alternative. If they do this, I'm all right with them. But they have to accept that Earth is a sphere and it works on the globe. That's the best they can do. Adopt the globe Earth like I did, and then find what you think is discrepancies, gaps and holes. Try to break it down, but from the inside, from the globe side, because you are right now in the limbo, dancing in the air with nothing you can present as an alternative.
Jose, I don't think that they need to admit that it's a globe. I think that they need to admit that when they're wrong. Like they can like with SC Montreal, like these guys be blatantly wrong and they would just shit on the chessboard and claim victory. It blows my mind. Like, what do you think about them? Sean Smith, go ahead, I see you.
Yeah, they don't have to say admit like, yeah, it's a globe. They can at least don't push him out. Don't tell me, oh yeah, but it's flat or the globe is bullshit. It doesn't work. Don't say that, Jose, because it does work.
Hey Jose, like in your show, when I was talking to SC Montreal, and I asked him about an observation like the ISS that we all can see. I asked him about the observation. The only thing he can come with was, is it an open or closed system? I say, that's besides the point. This is an observation that we can make. Can you see this? Can you measure it for yourself? Can you measure the distance? Can you measure the speed? Like, can you measure the height?
Yeah, I know. Some people did need to be a little more honest, more direct to answer questions, more humble on, like, I either, yes, have seen it, or I either believe it or not believe it, but some people got to just take that, all right, let me answer your question, but let me explain why. And then they can give it, but if they dance around the answer, that's what, yeah, it does aggravate me, when they don't want to answer a direct question, big time. Most of them do. I mean, most of them do that as they don't answer questions directly. That's their style.
Yeah, it's avoidance. For me, it's literally you. I mean, I'm not sure how much you've seen of the Travis and me saga. That was my version of, is this person real or are they full of shit? Oddly enough, you named a few names, and they all are all different tiers of the problem. Nathan Oakley, he's a scammer. He's scamming flat earthers for their money, and he knows how to do it, and he's doing very well at scamming people. Chris Berry is a parrot. He listens to Quantum Eraser Nathan Oakley, thinks their version of discussion works, and he will learn something from them. Travis is stuck on stupid. He's not going anywhere. If I had to pick which one would be a Glober first, it's going to be Chris Berry. I think Chris Berry just likes the argument. I think Chris Berry likes to trigger people, and that's all he wants to do. That's why his discussions never come with full detailed explanation with a conclusion that makes sense, because he's scattergunning. In Travis, he's just like a thorn that you get in your shoe on a hike, and your hands are full, and you can't take your sock off at the moment. Yeah. It's like I said, there's a very wide spectrum of what I call flat earthers. I didn't even realize it until I became a Glober, because as far as I was concerned, everyone was truth seeking. Honestly.
Hey, but Sean, think about this. Let's do this thought experiment. Before you heard about the flat Earth, did you care about the shape of the Earth?
I didn't give a fuck. And I still
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
I like knowing these things. I like gaining this mass amount of understanding I have. But I'll tell you right now, there are a lot of other shit we can be talking about. The shape means absolutely nothing to me.
I cared more about aliens than freaking Earth before.
Yeah, it means nothing. So when people like Nathan Thompson and all these fools come around talking about I was the Glober for so many years. No, you wasn't. You didn't care about the shape of the Earth. It is what it is. But now that you got this conspiracy, you wanna adapt to it and you want to promote it. Like, nobody cares about the shape of the Earth. It is what it is.
It pissed me off when they come off the gate saying, "But I was a Glober for 30 years, and then now I've been a flat earther for 2, 3, 4, 5 years." Bullshit! You were never a Glober. You were just a normal guy. You were just a normal guy, and then you fell down the rabbit hole of the flat earth. That's it. So when they break down, I was a boarder for 35 years. Bullshit, my ass.
Nobody cares about the shape of the Earth. Who cares about that? You didn't think about that until you got into flat Earth. And now that you into this, you want to promote it. You feel like you know some special knowledge that nobody else know, and you're gonna keep going with that.
Yeah, because
you're wrong.
Yeah, like I was saying before, when I was a flat earther, I said this, don't come to me for flat earth proof. I would tell it to everyone. If you listen to any of the debates I went into, Red's rhetoric, you name them, it wasn't to prove the earth was flat. It was to prove that, for instance, with Red's rhetoric, we were talking about bridges being built, and everyone kept saying they have curvature in mind. Well, I know for a fact, it's my profession, that there's no curvature in account for building a bridge. Why? Because it's built in sections. That's what I argued. So it was very clear. And again, a lot of flat earthers had problems with me because of this, because I wasn't one of those people that were going to parrot shit. Oh, space isn't real. What do you mean space isn't real, bitch? I just looked at GPS on my phone. It's fucking real. But
hey, let me answer the plain truth. Let me answer the plain truth question. The plain truth. Who is this guy? This is Sean G, the Ether Band Slayer. Boom.
Exactly.
Yep. Now they want to come up with, it's the Ether Band. It's nothing never to do with curvature. Come on, man. Like, I mean, this stuff sounds ridiculous. Like this is what it was. When I first got turned on the flat earth, they were saying there's no evidence of curvature. There's no evidence of curvature. Then boom, all these videos of evidence of curvature popped up. Then they come up with these other ideas, angle of attack, Ether Band, and all of this other nonsense. Like, come on, man. Like, it's obvious that these guys, they will not accept any evidence. So this is how I do, Jose. When I come on your show, I will not talk science with any flat earther. I will only discuss observations like the ISS and satellites. I will not talk all of that curvature at the sea level. I wouldn't talk none of that with them. I will only talk about the observations. Let's look at the ISS and let's discuss that.
I'll talk whatever they want to talk about, but if I don't know anything about it, then I'll look it up.
I mean, they don't deserve science thoughts because all they're gonna do is say, nah.
Well, see, we got to. For me, it's like this, and obviously, I've dealt with Travis so many times; it's very clear. I'm honing my argument. Actually, today's a perfect example. When I went on Ranties and they start scattergunning everything, in my brain, I'm not answering all their questions. I'm trying to figure out my brain how to keep it on topic. Mainly I was trying to tell Ranty I didn't want to have a conversation with Travis and or Flat Earth Data, which was a whole argument in itself. But again, what I found happens is for instance, gravity. We'll talk about gravity to a point, and then we'll come to something and I go, I don't remember, or I don't remember how that worked out. And then I'll go and look it up and stuff. All these conversations we're having about this stuff just makes me look it up more, helps me fucking fill in a gap where I had a gap in my understanding of something. And it just kind of helps everything. Now, you are correct. There are certain people that aren't worth the conversation. For a while, Travis was. Now it's just like that girlfriend you have that like you heard her fart one night and you want nothing to do with her. So like, but she's always in your ear and you keep telling her to leave you alone. That's Travis. I'm done having that conversation with him. I keep telling him that, and he's still around.
Let me answer the plain truth. He got a second question. Who the fuck is this other guy? Well, this other guy is Master Khalik, the guy that can expose you again in top of everybody that have exposed you, Travis. Anytime you want to jump on my show, you see Master Khalik in the chat, shout him out, and I'll give you both the floor so Master Khalik can beat you up over everybody that have done it already. The plain truth, boom. You all right with that, Master Khalik? I'm throwing you under the bus to take the plain truth anytime he wants, huh?
Yeah, I take him on anytime, but I will only deal with observations. I won't deal with his ether band shit that he made up. I will only deal with observations.
Oh, well, he's a one-trick pony, so that's
when
the
I say
conversation he wants to have.
I'm talking about, when I say observations, I'm talking about the ISS. I won't discuss any of this nonsense that they can deny, because the ISS is something that they cannot deny. When they start denying
whoa. You know who Jeranism is, right?
Yeah.
That motherfucker's seen the ISS 3 times.
For itself.
For himself, and still denies.
But you know what he said when he seen it, right? It's there, but I don't know
what it is.
Humans on board.
Yeah.
That's what he said. It's there, but there's no humans on board.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, Travis, who I am. He said, you're a joke, Jose. Yes, I am Jose JG, the Daily Boom. Find me and have fun. You're welcome. Anybody is welcome to go there and have a little chat with anybody else. I'll keep it civil. I'll be unbiased. Boom.
Yeah, it's amazing. Jose is a joke, but everyone's... Never mind. I don't want to entertain him. I'm done entertaining him. Travis, seriously, man, it's pathetic. You're pathetically wrong, and you're not worth my time. If you want to have this discussion, PayPal me $200.
Travis still entertaining and being the boss on my channel, so you can remove people of the call. Hey, the membership is open, bro. Hey, yeah, Tweetwit, bro. Tweetwit got the boss package, bro, today. Holy
Seriously?
shit. Yeah, man.
Ballin'.
She's the boss.
She has unlimited power now. Jose's her bitch.
Yeah, man. I'm excited because it kind of took a turn of events. I didn't know anybody was going to take it. So, yeah, I will honor the privilege of removing one person a day and kind of calling the shots, you know?
Nice.
So, it's good.
Yeah, I'm setting up mine right now. I got to do that video to explain the thing. But I don't even know what I want to do yet, because then I got to commit myself to actually following through with shit. The only upside is I got so many what I call drunk Discord recordings that I could probably go a year with putting out probably 3 uploads a week, 5 minutes, 10 minutes long. I could probably do it for a good year and not run out.
I got content for months.
Yeah,
put it and upload a day. I got 4 months, and it's hours long, man. Those after shows.
I do. I want to do it. See, I'm trying to get like a good understanding of how the membership thing works, but I would like to do something where it's like for instance, like Dr. Bob and Cliff did, where they kind of have their own presentation or their own topic they want to discuss, and they run that stream. Like, I want to do something like that, but I don't want to. Enough people do it. Then what are you going to have? 30 days of other people's shit? You just became a network.
Yeah.
But
when you deal with other people's shit, you don't have to do it yourself. It's a lot easier that way. You just got to make sure the stream works.
I'm actually happy that happened, because I went and did some research, and I actually found a platform. It's like Zoom, but I don't want to go to Zoom because Zoom has a lot of issues with the quantity amount of people going onto it right now. But let me see if I can find it real quick. It's in my little folder. But it runs 1080p, and it can hold 45 people. The only issue with it is that you have to start an account, and it's like one of those, go to your emails, verify that. Make sure your profile is 30%.
That's the easy part, bro.
Yeah, it is the easy part,
Sean,
but
I'll
it's
tell
much
you
better.
something. You may
It's
be
called
onto
Cast.
something here.
Yeah.
You may be onto something. I mean, there's a lot of us that would love to do live streaming, but just don't have the internet connection or the skills to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we can call into a live stream.
Oh, yeah.
As long as something's making the live stream work.
Mm-hmm.
You could be like a hosting service for debates, and people like Cliff and me, we would come on over. So, okay, we're going to meet on Sean's channel at this time.
Well, see, here's
and
a better
Sean
part of
runs
this. There is
and all
one
those
thing,
views go to you.
But here's the thing. There's one thing I do like that YouTube has done. Okay, so there's a new feature. It's called it's a manager feature. So basically, I can make Jose capable of managing my stream, my YouTube channel. I don't know enough about it yet, so I'm not suggesting any of it yet. But because one of the things you can do, for instance, like when you live stream, Bob, you have to you do your stream key. Well, if I have your stream key, my OBS is going to stream to your YouTube site. Now, it's I don't know enough about it right now. The problem with that is it does get risky, because you do have to trust the person that you're doing this to, because that is your channel's livelihood. And it's so big that I couldn't even do it myself. I wouldn't do it without enough safety nets, and I don't know those safety nets, so I wouldn't even offer it yet. But YouTube is starting to take these steps for these, because a lot of people are collaborating. And so I do know YouTube is taking steps at that. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, that is one of the things actually I've been thinking about a lot about, Dr. Bob, is the producing side of things. Again, I love live streaming, but I mean, if you guys understood how much time I spend just making scenes and figuring out new routes and ways and methods, you guys would be like, why are you live streaming? You should just be
but I hate
them.
it, man.
But see, that's the fun part. I like
being
it.
on a live stream. I just don't want to do any of it.
Yeah, super chip.
I have a feeling that manager feature is probably more for channels that have employees.
Yeah.
Look, guys.
Let me get this super chat real quick. Thank you, RT96. I appreciate that, my friend. He says, Travis, you are flirting and driving? No, officer. I am globe denying and traveling. Yeah, that's
you know what, Chonji? That this feature of recording, I started using it yesterday, yesterday and today on Google Meet. And the thing is, it gives you 5 terabytes, bro, of just a Google Meet recording, and it doesn't count for your regular drive storage, which is like 100 gigs. So you got 5 terabytes free with the package on the G Suite.
Oh, nice.
And I only have used 927 megabytes, not even 1 gigabyte used. And today only I recorded at 5 hours after show, bro. So it's amazing, bro. You can store a lot, bro, for years of storage there.
It would be cool. It would be cool if you recorded the video feeds and audio separately. That would be amazing.
Well,
but he also records the log on everything that went down in the chat. So you got you got the recording of the video and then the log on the chat. So you got websites and the interaction. It's good, man. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I have the website. That's my Truth Army website. That's how I got that. That's
why I tried today. I say how much storage will it take to grab just to record, and it was 4 hours 55 minutes, and not even a gigabytes. And that's I recorded earlier an hour and a half plus yesterday I recorded like 2 hours. So this is like 7-8 hours of recording 720p for under a gig. Hell yeah!
Wow,
And I
damn.
got 5 terabytes.
Nice. Damn, I mean that should. Yeah, yeah. I should probably. Well, that's the other thing. I have started to stock up. Like every live stream now, I do say it because I have an external. I have 2 external drives, and they're both a terabyte. I started saving my channel, the streams I want to save basically, but yeah, the
Like
idea
my
that.
Americans.
Oh yeah, I gotta.
And the quality is really good because it only gives you the full screen. Is just give you the Google Meet, with the whoever's speaking and the presentation is full screen. You don't have any extra menus or screen shares or nothing. It's just like a very clean recording of just the Google Meet. Really nice.
Let me see. I'm gonna show you, Carlos, why I haven't aired the footage yet. Let me show you real quick. So, Carlos, you see my screen? Hang on. Why is my computer acting so slow? Okay. So you see that? You see the files? Carlos, are you there? Was that Carlos? I'm not even paying attention to the chat. Okay, so
that was me. No, that was Jose.
Well, everything you guys are looking at right now, these are all
Carlos
everything.
left.
This it's not even, no, he's not. He's right there. I can see his ugly face. Okay, so Carlos, everything you're seeing right now, all these files are all files with OBS recordings in them. Okay, that is why you have not seen the Nathan one yet, because all this is all recordings. I have over 2,000 2,000 files of recordings, and I don't like you enough to want to search through all those files right now.
Well, I mean, you remember what date it was?
No, I don't.
Remember what month it was?
No, you may remember. I can see you definitely remember. You seem pretty intimate about that date.
No. I want to forget that day now.
I bet.
What are you doing over there, Carlos? Fire.
I have a satellite fire right here, trying to send some satellite smoke signals. It's literally a satellite dish that I'm using as a fire pit.
Oh no, my computer's freaking out.
My laptop ran out of battery. Have a good night, everybody. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm pretty much gonna be wrapping this one up, especially because my computer's freaking out.
Wow. So I'll just say something and then you guys will leave.
No,
Thanks.
What were you working on earlier? I asked that question like 6 times.
Well, yeah, a mower, lawnmower.
Oh, a ride-on?
Yeah, I was trying to troubleshoot why one cylinder wasn't firing.
Because one's broke, one's not.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very, very faint spark. What do you think it was?
Wait. You were
probably
fouling a plug.
Huh?
Were you fouling your plugs?
Filed the plug?
Fouling. Putting just too much oil.
No. It was a faint spark. It was very small, short.
Probably just shitty old wiring.
No, it was the coil.
Plug?
No, I thought it was a spark plug, and then I pull out the wire and I kind of put it close to the ground, and I saw that I had to get very close in order to get a spark. So the arc wasn't big enough, so I changed the coil. I happened to have another coil from another mower, and it worked. So
you should record that and put it on your Mr. Gadget thing.
Well, it's Mr. Gadget, not Mr. Bean.
Damn. Tomato.
Anyway, has anybody debunked Anthony O'Reilly again on his thermal camera, cold moonlight thing?
I didn't even watch it.
Does it have to be done again?
Well, I'm gonna do it next
Later,
year.
Mr. Victory. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. I'm starting to get hungry.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and Carlos
Fatty.
is here. So, really, Carlos?
No, hey.
Do I need to go on camera real quick?
No, look at that.
Jesus Christ. Well, if you ever get a flat tire.
What? What did Timmy call me? What did Timmy call me again?
I wasn't there.
He said the human spheroid.
he's our globe model.
He said, "Oh, there's Carlos, or the human spheroid." That was so funny. I love it. I'll never forget. He called me insolent. That was so funny.
Let's see. All right, I'm out of here. I'm tired, guys. Thank you very, very much, Master Kali. Thank you for the questions. I had fun. Thank you for bringing it back down to a fun stream that we definitely need to calm ourselves. I do appreciate that. Dr. Bob out there, I'm not sure if you're still here. I definitely do appreciate you coming in and setting Lemon straight and helping us out, answering questions. I think that's very, very important to have someone that has the knowledge to at least give us some information without, acting as if, they're the law. So I do appreciate that, Dr. Bob. Seriously. What else did I want to say? Oh, I am working on that membership thing again. I want to make sure that it is exactly how I want it to be, and it's worth it. So this probably gonna take some time, but that's coming around. What else did I was gonna say? I think that's it. I think I overthought whether or not I had something to say at the end of this. So
always do.
I always do.
It happens to the best of us.
Of course. You guys want to do some final thoughts? It's been a while since I've been able to do a final thoughts on a meet hangout.
Yeah.
Well, you're not first, Carlos.
Oh well, I didn't say I was. I agreed, as in yes, we should do it. Dang it!
But you're talking. Big Blue, got any final words?
Hey guys.
Go ahead, Carlos. You can't help yourself.
I'm so sorry, guys. No, I was gonna say, COVID-19 is a real thing. Just because nobody around you may have it, or you haven't seen anybody or experienced anything, doesn't mean it's the boogeyman. So, just yeah.
I have a question for the panel about that. So Trump just cut off funding to the WHO today. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
What's the WHO again?
World Health Organization.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
The fact. Oh, wait, the fact that I just learned what that was today, about an hour ago, I have no opinion.
Well, we need to.
Yeah, I can't hear you right now, Carlos.
That is, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Perfect. Okay, awesome, my friend. No name. You final thoughts?
Whatever.
Yo. Final thoughts. Cutting off funding for the World Health Organization during a pandemic is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
2020.
You
already had your turn, Carlos. Sean Smith?
I would totally agree with what No Name said. Why you would want to pull out of something that's continually trying to help reduce the deaths. I have no idea why you would want to do that. That's about all I got. Hit the thumbs up, people.
Thank you. Thank you.
Final thoughts.
Yep.
I had to step off for a minute. Is it my turn?
Oh yeah.
Final thoughts is no, Shanji. I think you're a very intelligent brother, man, and let's not let these conspirators and these flat tards push a narrative that's just ridiculous. Hold their feet to the fire. Make them deal with the observations that we can all verify. Let's just deal with that, because when they come with the we see too far and all of this stuff, let's make them debunk the images that we got from space. They can't just say nah. They have to actually give us evidence that it's fake. They are the ones that's claiming that the observations is fake. They have to prove that it's fake. And that's my final thoughts.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Sasha, I don't know if the question was your final thoughts or you have final thoughts.
My final thought is there's no decent debate space anymore where flat earthers try and think. That might be because there's no decent debate space, or just because all the people that can think have gotten out of it. But yeah, that's my final thought. Nothing left.
All right. Thank you, Sasha. You still owe me a LIGO presentation, by the way.
Oh, all right. Get that done sometime.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I think that is it. I think everyone got to say. I think Blue is away from his mic. Okay. I'm going to leave here. You guys have a good one.
Sean G, zigzag smoke.
Yes.
Zigzag smoke.
All right, sir. All right, guys. I am going to get out of here. I am starving. Yeah, I really enjoyed today. So Jose's final thoughts were, people on Ranties are rejects. Boom. That is it. Didn't make you okay. Da-da-da. Let me see. All right, yeah, that's it. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I will talk to you guys later. I'll probably see most of you guys around somewhere. I'm not going to bed or anything, so I'll be at someone's stream or in the Discord. I will see you guys around while I am ranting while I set this up and to do this. Peace.
Raise it high up so all in the streets can see. That's what preserves the order of things. Fear.
Telling beats. Telling beats. Telling beats. Telling beats.